right, we're live. This is Comics Cast. Welcome, guys. If this is your first time and you're not subscribed, subscribe now. There's going to be a whole show. It's going to be awesome. Welcome to the show. If you're a longtime viewer, thanks for coming back. We've got some amazing talent today. This is Gerald's show, Let It Out. I just always want to open up by saying, make sure you guys are subscribing. A lot of new stuff coming from 2021. We've got new shows. We're building our website up. This is going to be a huge year for Comics Cast. It's going to be a huge year to build a platform because at the end of the day, the bigger the platform, the more impact we can have to support indie creators. That being said, I'll be quiet, and now it's all Gerald.
I don't want you to be quiet. I was too busy jamming out to your bumper that we have now for Comics Cast in 2021. Let It Out. That's just some phenomenal talent there, Joe. Thank you for doing that for us. But today, before I introduce our guests, we just got to do a little bit of what we call, I guess, shameless self-promotion. Let It Out. I think, Joe, you talked a little bit about it. It's basically a show. Comics Cast Let It Out is about showcasing a independent creator or creator team and showing their artworks. And we're going to do a draw along as part of the interview. And that's what makes Let It Out a little bit different. But we want you to like and subscribe to Facebook, our Facebook page. Hopefully you found us through there. It's Comics Cast on Facebook, but on YouTube, which we're really trying to push this year, we are at Indie Comics Cast. And Joe, if you want to pull up our YouTube page.
I feel so pressured.
Hey, Roy, how you doing? Roy is somebody that's always been with us, in terms of like being on the show and drawing.
Roy's been great, yeah.
Yeah, Roy's a great guy. And here we go. Joe, maybe you want to hit the videos tab real quick. And
yeah, I can bring it all down. I'll bring it all down.
Yeah, this is what I think the operative word that we use now is a plethora of
Your audio is going in and out, brother.
Okay, we have a plethora of videos out there. Can you hear me okay now?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, so you can see we have well over, I want to say, Joe, you counted. It was it over 100 videos? I don't know. So we got tons of videos. It's our past shows. It's some of our great bumpers that Joe's put together. Joe had a show called the ART, which is the Artist Roundtable. We're going to be possibly reviving that show this year, but we also have a couple new shows in the works that we're going to be probably debuting in maybe March, April. So stay tuned for that. So yeah, check it out. Tons of great video, tons of great guests. And you're going to actually get to see a great guest for this time around. And I'm going to do, Joe, you want to do a little drum roll? We're going to exit out this YouTube page. Oh, clicked on, what is this?
Oh, just showing you did past shows. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, great. Yeah. Okay, so let's do a drum roll, and we're gonna have our guest come into the studio. Here we go. Let's get them in.
All right, and we'll bring them all in now. I got them.
Oh, oops.
We got everybody in the kitchen sink coming in. All right, here we go. All right.
Uh-oh,
I got two on Zilson. There, let's do There we go. All right.
There we go. All right, so let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, we're all here. I just want to make sure everybody's here. So let's do a little Brady Bunch here. I want to put Mr. Brian in the center here. So I want to welcome Dojo Kun Comics in the house.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we got all right. Yeah. Oh, we got Alfred. Alfred was our guest from last week. He's already saying hi. So we got some.
He wants me to draw along.
Yeah, we got some guests already coming in here. I mean, former guests coming in to see our current guests. So Dojo Kun Comics. We are looking forward to hearing you guys' story, both individually and how you guys came together under the Dojo Kun banner. I want to pop this up real quick, which is this is how you can go to check out Dojo Kun Comics. And I would encourage everybody to look in the comments field because we have so many guests this time around with so many ways to contact them. There's just many ways to show your love and support to them. I couldn't put it all in the scrolling ticker. So I'd like you to look in the comments section. And it's actually better because when you see the comments, you can copy and paste from there or click on them and be able to look at it. But we don't want you to go to their individual websites just yet. We want you to have all eyes right here, right now, because we're going to tell the story of how these guys came together and gals I mean to say that. so let's
gender neutral guys.
Yes. I want to make sure that when I say guys, it's not to say that you're all guys. It's like it's just Dojo Kun Comics all coming.
You're making it weird, man.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm digging my hole. Okay. So here we go. Let's kick off the show. So this is the part of the show where we call it the elevator pitch. Where it's going to be an opportunity for our guests to tell us a little bit about themselves. The whole thing about the elevator pitch on this show, though, you will have more than one floor to talk about yourselves. So don't feel pressured to like rush through it because our audience, they want to hear about you. So let's start out with Brian, and I'm going to pull up some of his work that he shared with me. And he's just going to tell a little bit about himself, and we will go from there. So the mic is officially tossed to you, Brian.
Great. Thank you so much, Gerald. We all very much appreciate you having us on the show. It's been a great show. I've been watching for weeks, and I love the opportunity. So about Dojo Kun Comics, several years ago, after having collected comics for 45 years, I decided I want to be a part of the industry. So I went onto a site called ZWall, where artists, writers, letterers, colorists, they all come together and they look for opportunities to work together. There was an ad on there that asked for somebody who was a comic book writer who could also help with their accounting, which I thought was like, do you somehow know me already? Like that's my day job. I've been an auditor and an accountant for a couple decades now. And so I reached out to them, and they hired me pretty quickly once they saw my resume and my sample script. So I worked for Affinity Storm Press first, and then with Red King Press for a small bit. And then after working with them, I went out and struck out on my own and started Dojo Kun Comics about 4.5 years ago. And since then, Dojo Kun has published 12 titles, 12 comic books. The first one was called Siamese, and it was a 4-issue miniseries. So Siamese is all out there published. You can find our comic books on our website. You see scrolling across the bottom of the screen there. And during the time that I was publishing, I happened to read about The Shifter, and we'll get to exactly how we got in touch with Janice coming up soon. But so with Dojo Kun, we've had some opportunities to publish these comics, to get on these streams, to meet some great people online in the comics industry, and notably in the indie comics realm, which I've become more and more a fan of over the last few years. The mainstream has been, I'd say, a little substandard, and indie has really been stepping up their game.
All right. Yeah, this is a great story. And I just see the breadth of your work here. It's just amazing how many titles. I mean, as prolific as you are as a writer, it's like, just look at I'm just in awe. Lots of different titles, lots of different stories. And like I said, check out that link at the bottom. You have an opportunity to see more of Brian's work. And of course, we're gonna get to that shared work, shared piece that this team put together.
Oh, if I could talk about Siamese for a minute.
Yeah,
the artist on the first 2 issues, I came about getting in touch with him in a really roundabout way. I was in a hospital waiting room. One of my loved ones was in surgery, and I picked up whatever magazine was nearby, and it was a nurse's magazine. And as I thumbed through it, there was an ad for some, I don't know, nursing program where they can enter hospital data. And the ad was done in like superhero fashion. And I thought, you know what, this artist is pretty good. I'm going to look for the company that produced this ad and see if I could talk to him. Well, they were like, you want to do what? So I finally got in touch with this guy, and he's like, you know, I never thought about doing comic books. That could be great. So I actually introduced him to comic books, and I think he's been involved with comic books ever since. And he was my artist on the first 2 issues of Siamese. He's really good. He's professional. And what he does for a living, to be quite honest with you, is he's a fine art painter. He does portraits and landscapes, and his work in fine art is phenomenal. His name is Mike Salter.
Okay, we're gonna have to
now all these comics that you've made, are these available on your website? Is this like they would order it and get hard copies, digital? Like how do people get these comics that you've been working on for all these years?
Yeah, thanks, Joe. They're print to order. So if you go to our website, Dojo Kun Comics at Wixsite.com, you can click on each of the covers, and it'll take you to Indie Planet, which will give you the opportunity to order them individually.
Yeah, and like I said, I encourage everybody to go check out that link. But we definitely want to give a shout out to our next part of the team, which is Janice. Janice, welcome to our show. And I want to share some of the artwork here. Now, Janice is the novelist that is behind their joint project, which is called The Shifter, that Brian is adapting to comic books. So I would like Janice. The mic is now in your hands. Let's hear your elevator pitch.
Oh, hello there. Thanks again for having me on. I have to echo that with everyone else. This was kind of a fun project. It's very different for me because I come from the novel side. I write novels in science fiction and fantasy for both children, teens, and adults. And The Shifter was my teen trilogy, or the Healing Wars trilogy. And besides just writing for kids, I also do urban fantasy for adults with my Grace Harper series, and Blood Ties is the first book that's out. And I love writing because writing in two different complete markets is not enough. I need to be even busier than that. So I also teach writing and write books on writing. And I run a site called Fiction University, which I've been doing for about 11 years now. And it has over 3,000 articles on how to write and how to improve your career. So it's from people who are like, I want to write, I've never done it before, how do I start? To I'm a professional with 20 books, how do I better my career? So I do I wear a lot of hats, but they all tend to be in the fiction and nonfiction writing arena kind of thing.
I feel like that may be something that we're going to have to bother you about later on, because we have some shows coming out that may be specifically involved with writing. So that would be pretty cool.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
I'm here.
Okay. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
so thank you for giving an introduction in terms of like who you are and what you're about, because you're the puppet master behind The Shifter. So it's great to know that you're the mastermind behind the entire project that Brian is adapting. But we're going to move along with these to introduce the rest of the team, and this is where the team goes international. This is where.
Well, talking about international, before you slowly roll into that, this is a question for Brian. Backtracking a little bit, is that shipping international came from the chat?
Yes, our friend from Denmark, Rick. Indeed, yes, we will be shipping this internationally.
Woo!
Okay.
All right.
There you go.
Yeah, because it would be a shame if you have international indie creators here and it's only available domestically. You know what I mean? You want to make sure that it goes global.
It's like, yeah, you want the book that you worked on, you better pay for shipping.
and this is one aspect of this particular team that we have today that is just so incredible, is that, like I said, they're international. We have Janice, who hails from, of course, the great country of Florida. And we also have Brian from the great country of Michigan. But now we have Matias, who hails from the great country of Italy, but he's Argentinian, I think. I think that's what he mentioned. But let's let Matias do his elevator speech while I share some of his work. He is actually the letterer behind this great work that we're going to be showcasing today. So Matias, the mic is now in your hands. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, great. Well, yes, I'm Argentinian. The name is Italian, but I'm Argentinian. And well, I've been lettering comics like since 5 years now, or maybe a little more. I started as a writer and an editor in my own publishing house, a very small one here in Argentina. So we make several comics here, and I learned to letter my own comics, and that was the beginning. Now the publishing house doesn't exist anymore, and I'm fully involved in lettering comics for other projects around the globe. And I've been working with some great artists and great writers, and I'm very happy with this professional decision I made.
Yeah, it's great to see this, because you are our first letterer that we've had on our show. So congratulations on being the first. And you know what? I think this is a great opportunity because I think this part of comics is overlooked completely. I think that when you see dynamic lettering, you really can appreciate it. And I look at these pieces and they just stand out. So Matias, just phenomenal work. And I'm glad that I can share this with our viewing audience. So definitely check out his work. He is the Argentinian Italian letterer extraordinaire. So be sure to check out his contact information that's in the comment field, and you can get in contact with him. And maybe, like with all of our creators here, if there's a job that you specifically need, they can do it for you. Or you can also get it under Brian's Dojo Kun Comics brand. So thank you so much, Matias. And as we keep on going, let's keep on going down with the international flavor. Now we're going to introduce the colorist, which we just know her as HG. So HG, let's check out your personal work because I want to show you are a phenomenal artist as well. Well, you know, coloring art is art, but I want to show your personal artwork as well as your coloring artwork. So let's show your personal
It's key. You can have the greatest inker and the greatest penciler in the world, but if you don't have a great colorist, it all goes downhill. That is so true.
Exactly. I mean, this is so striking. You know, color can evoke emotion. It can establish the whole tone of a scene, and colors, HG's colors definitely do that. So HG, let me show some of your work, and the mic is now in your hands. Give us your elevator speech.
Hi, everyone. So I don't know if you said, but I'm Spanish. Yeah. And I've been trying to do comics like for a long time. I even tried to do in this university, but it didn't came out okay. But I did all the work you see now. It's work I've been developing from this last year. Previously, I did a color course where I learned a lot from a friend of mine who is DC Alonso. Like, he's really good colorist. And in this course, a comic course, I learned a lot about doing comics, which you can see here. I have been trying to develop my own style related to coloring, but also I want to someday also do pages, like do all the work. But yeah, different type of things. And I mainly try to use strong colors and a lot of contrast because that's what I love. I mainly really like using oranges and blues. And even though it's very hard, it has been very hard to pull out of using natural colors because it's what we see in day to day. I think I'm getting to it, like step by step.
Yeah, this looks great for somebody who says that they don't want to focus on color. You are quite an accomplished, I think, panel comic artist. And I think you wanted to talk a little bit about, I think it was this particular page. You said you're a fan of that blue and orange, and talk about effective. I mean, sequential art is tough in itself. HG, you nailed the sequential part of it, and then on top of that, you got the great, line work, and then you top it off with these colors. I love how you stand. It's definitely establishing that emotional appeal. I don't know. Do you want to talk a little bit about this piece? I know that you were. Oops, Joe.
Sure, that's fine. I usually, when I do a comic page, I try to use the less panels as possible because I come from illustration. So in the end, I try to put as much information as possible in less panels.
Yeah.
So when I do my own comics, I focus on less colors because I think it gives more information and it helps focusing on what's important. It's the characters, the background, the landscape, the dialogue, and most of the time I try to express everything by actions. And in this particular case, I wanted to give a very slice of life, very calm vibe, very loving and intimate. So I think it came out right.
I think you nailed it. And nothing like that sequence there at the very bottom and last panel where the steam forms a heart. You could, like I noticed here, it's like you don't even have to use we're using like almost emojis. You don't have to have any type of dialogue or, I'm sorry, Matias, I don't think you're going to have to be doing any type of lettering for HG for this particular page, but I think she's very effective in terms of this, very accomplished. And you know what? We looked at this stuff, and this is her personal work. So you can see that she personally likes to use a very limited color palette, especially in this one. Look how limited in color this one is. But you can see that the high contrast in here, it's so readable. And the dynamic camera angle, just love it. It's just really, really great work. And let's transition to some of her color work. Now, this work is work that obviously she didn't draw, but it speaks for itself just from the color. And you can see this is from DC Comics, and I think that's Robin, and it's a Batman and Robin page. We also have here a Poison Ivy, and here we see a completely different shift. These are the full range of colors, but you can see she's just as effective using the whole color palette. So incredible work. And this is another illustration that blew my mind too, is that this is a complicated image. Got a lot of stuff going on here. And this is what I think Joe was talking about. Yeah, what Joe was talking about, how if you don't have that right colorist, it could just zero the entire project, because as phenomenal as the line work can be, and the inking, if you don't have the colors to really be able to lead your eye, it becomes a less effective piece. And so
this piece right here really helps her colors really work on the flow of the piece. It leads you from one side of the page to the other. It focuses on the parts that I'm sure the artist wanted to highlight. This is a beautiful piece.
It's you took the words right out of my mouth, Brian, and I guess that is exactly the reason why you went all the way to Spain to work on your shifter book. So phenomenal work. So
if you don't mind me commenting, sorry.
Yes,
when I saw the first time this page, I think I'm not gonna say I cried.
I was going to say, I think you might have cried.
Fear of suffering. Carlos Granda, who is the artist and inker, he did an awesome job. Like the page, the splash page is beautiful, but it has too many elements for me, and I have to sadly cover some of the tentacles and the teeth and people with light, and the lecture of the page, I don't know if you can sense it, but I try to split it in two parts.
I do see that. And what you did was so effective, is that you used a desaturated color palette for the background. It's a darker tone, so a little bit more desaturated. And then of course, what you see in those, what you want to draw attention to, which is those images that are in the bubbles.
The inset, yeah.
Those are obviously a more saturated, brighter tone. So this is like, I was terrible at color theory. That's the reason why in college, and that's the reason why I don't color in my work. I'm just gonna have to talk to HG if she's gonna do some color work for me. But this is effective color theory. It's being able to lead your eye and make those choices so that it makes the artwork stand apart. It just really brings it out. It adds that extra icing on the cake to make it sing. To really.
Well, it's also something that you said at the beginning, which was really cool, is that you were saying that, you don't like to focus on true to life color. So it keeps people from just basically being a color book artist. You're just coloring in a color book. So one of the things that are on here that I really enjoy a lot is that you put a light source on here, but it's not necessarily white. It's not necessarily like a yellow. It mixes and matches everything. And it also, on the bottom left panel, actually I have to do this because I'm opposite, right? So the bottom left of the panel, you have this light source on these guys, and it's almost framing your main focus, and it's drawing the eye down the page, which is really cool. There's so many things. People could just study this page for a while and just really enjoy it. This is really impressive work.
Yeah, I can tell you, I studied. I was oogling over it. When I first got it, I was like, whoa, just crazy detail, and the coloring just so effective. But yeah, so we had our Spanish contingent of the team represent here. So we're going to move to the Brazilian contingent of this artistic team, where I want to introduce Zilson. So Zilson, this is your opportunity to do your elevator speech. And I got to tell you, I looked at your artwork and it was like being an 80s child. I just was like, it was a trip down memory lane. I saw your fan arts here and being the illustrator behind the shifter. Let's talk about some of your artwork here that's pre-shifter. So the mic is in your hands now. Zilson, tell us about yourself.
Hey, everybody. First is a really, there's an echo.
You're getting
It's
a little bit of a
really
playback.
pleasure to be here. I'm a comic book artist. I need to say the headphones. The echo is really, really bad.
Well, there might be an echo on your end, but it's not coming through, so you sound pretty
I'm
good.
a comic book artist, and I'm a teacher, and an art teacher to kids 12, 15 years old. And I'm a musician. I have a heavy metal band named Evil Machines. You can see on YouTube, Evil Machines 2017. I started comics, my story in the comics in 1996 when I met some guys here in a course of drawing, anatomic drawing. So we have formed the group Factor RHQ. It look like comics in blood. Factor RH and age key in Brazil means comic book. So in 1996, I started to work in comics just for me, creating my own characters. And in 2012, I started to work in the US. I sent some samples to a lot of publishers in US, and my very first work in US was the origin of Shazra. The image has passed. Have a cover. I made a cover with Densen. To Densen. Densen have, yes, that's it. Densen, he liked my work, huh? And I made the pin-up. That's the cover. And he sent me a script. And my first work has the origin of Shazra in 2012. So I made for Argo Comics the origin of Chain Reaction. It's a really good work. So I like it, very much. Dan's a great guy, and so I made a lot of works for US and Brazil. This image is from it's from a work I finished in 2020 for Brazil, named Dark Soul, and this is a crazy guy. He killed this woman and killed other woman who looks like this. He's a crazy guy. And this is our work I finished in 2020 for Brazil. So this is the cover for Nature Man #1, who released it by Argo Comics, by the CEO Thunderzone, with the Insane. So we are the issue #1 has released. This is Pentagon. A work I really love to work on this title is with Brian. I have made just splash pages from this story for Brian. Here, another work for Brian for Dojo Kun Siamese. I think number 4.
I see.
Yes, number 4.
So basically,
Siamese #4.
You work
it's
with
really good work too. And another page from Siamese number 4.
Oh, I don't want to. We don't want to show
here,
that.
Here is the other.
Yeah, it actually.
The other image, please.
Yeah.
Please, Gerald.
Okay. Yeah,
here is Siamese number 4.
Uh-huh.
And a lot of work from Brazil and the US, and now we are on the shifter.
Yes.
Who's Brian talks to me in 2020, and we have started. I like to show you my own works. So,
there we go.
Evil Machines.
Hold on one second. And
it's
Joe
work based on my band. I have a script. I make the script.
He doesn't have his earbud, then he can't hear us.
And colors, and we planned to release this comic on US.
Excellent.
By the Seal Thunder Zone.
That is some beautiful work.
Sorry, guys. This is all in Portuguese. Was be released in December 2020. I have some copies, and now my own works, my characters, my superhero characters. The Frogman, and the Dogman. I like to make superheroes with humor, fun stories, and so this is one more of my own comics. And
that is excellent.
For finish, I'm working as a comic book artist. I work as a teacher. I'm graduated in the art art on the University of São Luís of Maranhão, in Brazil. And I'm a teacher. I'm a comic book artist, and I'm a musician. And my wife is laughing to me here on the couch.
Zilson, that is a great story. I had no idea just how talented you are, because I was looking just at your artwork, and here I find out that you're a teacher and a heavy metal band musician. That is awesome. Just for my own personal edification. So, are you like a guitarist? Are you the singer? Are you the drummer? What do you play in the band?
Yes, I'm a guitar player. And I'm making vocals. I'm the singer.
Oh my God!
I'm the lead singer.
You know what? We're gonna definitely have to do another show where we feature you and you do Portuguese heavy metal. Where you, I imagine maybe you have like a wig where you can like headbang. I don't know. I think that would be really cool. We're gonna have to do a follow-up because we're gonna just show your art right now. But I would love to see that Portuguese heavy metal, because I know that would just.
No. Our songs are in English.
Oh, okay.
Heavy metal in English.
Oh, okay.
But I have my own word on music,
right?
As like a punk.
Punk band?
It is in Portuguese.
You are a man of many talents, and
yes, my solo album, whose name is Pandemia Eterna, looks like Eternal Pandemic.
Okay, I hope you came up with that name prior to 2020, but that'll be a conversation for another day. But I want to go back to your artwork, because I am just, like I said, I was floored by looking at this. We got the Thundercats representing here. This is just, like I said, trip down memory lane. We got He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. I mean, these just resonated with me immediately. And
very clean.
Yeah.
Very clean work.
I mean, you could see very pro. And I just was looking at your line work here. And Joe, I don't know if you had the same like nostalgia vibes to me, but this definitely had like this, it harkened to like a 90s comics vibe to me. I don't know if that was what you, if you studied or you focused on that, but I was looking at this and it just, your fan art took me back to the 80s. I look at your panel work and it takes me back to the 90s. And when we get
it's so talking about how it takes you to different locations. It's got you've got such a just versatile, I guess is probably the proper term, is that you can show different styles. That panel that you had up initially, that page before you switched off, Jero, can you go back? That one actually kind of reminds me of a Frank Frazetta ink that he did. Can you go up? There was a page that he was on while he was
okay, so it was
talking. Let's see here. Let's see back to where it was a textbook page flow. It was absolutely stunning. It was the one where that one there.
Okay.
So like that one I was studying while you were talking, and I thought it was really impressive. And I think for a lot of people that are starting off to look at this page and to study this page, just like we were studying colors earlier, if you want to be a layout artist, then you need to be paying attention to pages like this because it really does flow the panels very well. And on top of that, you have backgrounds that aren't too cluttered. You have camera angles. You have two separate drastic camera angles, and everything, like the entire page flows. It controls the eye, where it's going down the panels. Absolutely stunning. Like, just even if you look at the bottom left panel, that eyebrow actually works the panel.
Yeah, it points you back.
Which is impressive. It just blows my mind. You obviously were either organically doing it, or you're like, at what point did you start thinking about page flow? Did it just come naturally after a while, or is this something that you strategically think of each time you lay out panels?
Thank you. I forgot to speak about my influences.
Yeah, your influences, and when you do your page layout, is there a lot of thought that goes into it, or at this point is it just naturally come to you?
Yes. Here in Brazil, we don't have a lot of school of art and comics, so we used to learn with the own comics. So my influences are John Buscema, Jack Kirby, of course, and for now, I really like the work of Joe Bennett on Immortal Hulk. But I work as a penciler, inker, and as a colorist. But,
do you mainly do digital inks, or do you have a lot of traditional that you do as well?
Yes, I rather to drawing on paper, so I make the scan to the PC, and I make the inks on the Manga Studio 5.
I see. Yeah. So he does digital inks, and just to follow up on what Joe was saying, I think that Zilson, it's just like second nature to you, because when we were talking about the sequential page that you see here, this just represents a great skill. If you look at the that he silhouette the shadow there, where you see that, and it just leads your eye. I believe that's like a tail that comes in. So you see that top panel, he uses that worm's eye view, and then he uses that it would almost look like that would divide the page, but actually it leads your eye, which is that silhouette, to the next panel, and then he has that panel 2. He doesn't have to get so complicated with doing a crazy background. He just does some hatching right there, because that allows you to focus on the expression. And here, I don't see any words, but I can see the narrative being built here. And then as it goes from panel 2 to 3 and then 4, and then it goes into that close up that Joe was talking about, that eye. And just, I'm looking at this page, and just like with HG and her thoughtfulness in terms of color, we see these panels being built so that it leads your eye. You see like the graphic elements as it just guides your eye around it. And like Joe said too, it's like he picks dynamic camera angles, and we end with this panel at the bottom where we have another establishing shot with a background, and it's at an angle. I love these angled shots. And even though your panels, they're all strictly horizontal and vertical, they're not diagonals, you have the diagonals that are in the actual panel work. So phenomenal work. And before we talk a little bit more about as we get into the larger project, where we're going to go back to Brian, I just wanted to talk about one more page that just floored me. I don't know if you looked at this, Brian. When we heard about his influences, Buscema and Kirby, And to me, that whole '90s vibe. I look at this, and it's cosmic. I mean, it's out of this world.
That's Kirby all day,
Yeah.
all day, every day.
That's exactly the
Yes,
intent there.
yes.
This character, the Pentagon entity, is its influences. I guess I would compare it to Uatu, the Watcher.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
So that's what this guy is essentially in the Dojo Kun universe. And I knew right away that the one to reach out to about this one would be Zilson. And it's also good synergy between the writer and artist. When I wrote the page that you were talking about a few moments ago with the panel flow with Siamese, I mean, I had a certain idea in mind what I wanted it to look like. And the great synergy between a writer and an artist is when the artist comes back with something different and it's better. I mean, it was like, well, that's not what I like that.
You know what, Brian? It may not be exactly what you said, but I think when you have that kind of synergy you're talking about, that collaboration, maybe you did have that indirectly. You kind of described the scene, and the artist can run with it. You gave them a foundation, and when you have that kind of relationship, the product just comes out that much better. And this is an example. It has that Kirby crackle. It has that cosmic vibe to it. The line work is phenomenal, and those rich, deep blacks with the star fields. You killed it, Zilson. Just awesome.
Yes.
And now I can't help but look at your artwork and think of heavy metal music playing in the background. Maybe there needs to be if you ever do a motion comic book with voice actors reading things, and you have to have a heavy metal soundtrack playing in the background. So
awesome.
So really great. So thank you so much for doing your elevator speech, because we're climbing the floors right now, and we're getting to that point where we get to talk about how when we have teams come on the show. I kind of use this analogy I used to say. It's like, now you guys are going to form Voltron. It's like with your powers combined. I don't know if your international crew understands that reference. Maybe it's like Voltron, or it's Captain Planet. I don't know. It's where all the individuals come together, and with your powers combined, you do the shifter. So that's what we got here. We got Janice, who came up with that great story, which is a novel. We got Brian, who adapted it to a comic format. And that's where we are right now. And I kind of teased a little bit about it. We're going to actually, just sort of I'm going to go through both Zilson and HG's work, the latter part of their works, where it shows some of the stuff that is the line work, the color work, and of course, some of the panels that we're going to be seeing from the shifter. But this will be a good segue. I'm going to just show this stuff right now. And Brian, I'm going to hand it back to you. You can give us just a little bit of a foundation of both Brian and Janice talk a little bit about the shifter and that adaptation, how you got the team together. And I'm just going to show artwork that is from both your colorist and your illustrator, Zilson and HG respectively, and of course the ones you sent to me, and just tell that story. Oh, look at that! some tight.
Cool.
So
that's beautiful.
I don't know if you guys have actually seen some of this, the rough stuff, the stuff here that's in production. It's a treat for me, and I think that probably is the first time maybe some of you guys have seen each other face to face. So it's really nice to be that nexus point to get you guys all on the same page or screen together to see that. So Janice, Brian, take it away. Tell us about where we're going with this campaign, this project that you're working on.
Okay, I'll start. This image in particular, yes, it was meant to look like a movie poster, and that was intentional. I like the idea of Hollywood standing up and taking notice of Janice's work, and I don't know, getting in touch with her about a 3-part movie series. Who knows?
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. Yeah.
It's gonna. Yes, you're right. So let's talk about bringing the team together. First, my fiance read the trilogy of novels that Janice wrote. And I made a comment on Facebook about it, because then she passed it on to me. She said, I think it's written for a young adult audience, but I think you're going to like it a lot, Brian. And in fact, she's right. It was well written. The world building was done very well. And Janice said that she's a writing consultant, and she's written articles about world building that I've read, and she's spot on with that. And it struck me as I was writing comic books, I thought, this would be a great comic book adaptation. So I said something on Facebook about it, and one of my best friends for over 35 years actually works with Janice's husband, and said, hey, would you like to get in touch with her? And I'm like, that'd be fantastic. So that's how Janice and I got together. And I said, would you like, oh, and by the way, this is when I worked for another company. Would you be amenable to my adapting this to comic book form? And she seemed pretty interested at the time. And we started talking. Things didn't work out with that company. But once I started my own, I reached back out to her and said, things are a little different now. I'm running the show on my own, and I'll make sure that this happens. And we've been talking for a couple of years now about getting this done. And I got the team together in various ways. It's as I was thinking about how to describe it here on your show, it was fun to go back through the history of it to piece it together. First of all, I saw Zilson's work in, as he said, Dan Sen's comic book company, the Argo Comics, and really liked it, and found Zilson on that same website that I found work, and that's on Z-Wall. I reached out to him and asked him if he would do Siamese with me, and he jumped on board. And I'm very happy he did. We've got a great rapport. When it came time to do the shifter, I knew he was the one that needed to have front and center. And what I did then was I reached out to Matias on Z-Wall also. That's ZWOL.org. If you're a creator and you want to find colorists, artists, letterers, even writers to help you with your stories if you want to, branch out and have other people write your stuff. Z-Wall is a great resource for that. So that's where I found Matias, and it was called Art Station is where I found HG, and fell in love with her colors and wanted to reach out to her. So it was, like I said, in various ways that I came about putting this team together, and I'm pleased with the work that they've done so far. So you're aware, there's only a few pages that we've done to provide as an example, and we are rearing to go once we get this thing launched on Indiegogo. But before we start talking about that, what I'd really like to do now is pass it over to Janice to talk about the impetus, the catalyst for creating the shifter, because of course no one knows it better than her.
Okay, hey there. Yeah, this was what's really funny is the inspiration for this novel came from a comic book movie. Which is really kind of funny the way this has ended up. And I hadn't thought about it until just now when you asked me that question. But I have always been a big comic book fan. And at the time, I was playing with fantasy ideas where I wanted to kind of turn some common fantasy tropes on its ear. And one of the things with fantasy novels and even in movies and things, you see healing is always something that's used for good. And I thought about, what could I do with healing? How could I play with that? And we went to see the first X-Men movie. I'm dating myself a little here. But one of my favorite comic book characters is Rogue. And I can remember coming away from the movies, and I like the comic Rogue. Yes, the movie Rogue is okay, but I like my sassy.
Okay, good, because I was going to have to interject.
No. Definitely. This is why I felt like I needed to clarify that.
Okay,
yes,
good.
No. I like my sassy Rogue who drains people, and yes, I like the original Rogue. It's good. And I came out of the movie saying, what if you had somebody who would bump into people and instead of stealing their powers would heal them and would take those injuries and those illnesses into their own body? And I started thinking and playing like, what if you could use healing for evil? Because that is kind of the nature of the story and I started, it's really funny because this is a book that came about, the world came first, which is unusual. Usually with a novel, the character comes first, sometimes the situation or the premise or the plot. But with this one, it was the world, because I started thinking about how you would a world that was kind of surrounded around pain, that was good and evil. And I came up with the idea of how you would, if you could turn it into a commodity. The original title for the shifter was The Pain Merchants. And that's actually the title of the book if you buy it in the UK. And the pain merchants were these people who bought and sold pain. And I just loved the concept of buying and selling pain and how would that work? And then I developed all this and said, well, who can I put in the middle of this world and make their life miserable? Because that's your protagonist. And I'm definitely one of those writers who loves to do evil things to my characters. What doesn't kill them makes them more interesting. So I sat down, and Naya is what's called a shifter. And she's a person who can heal by shifting pain from one person to another. And unlike how a regular healing ability works in this world, where healers heal somebody's injury or their illness or whatever it is, they pull the pain and the sensation. They don't pull the actual injury, but they pull the sensations and the feelings into their own body, and then they put it into a magical metal called pinvium. And then the pinvium is melted down and turned into weapons and defensive trinkets, and there's a whole thing. But that's what's bought and sold. And Naya, and Naya's, what makes her different is that she can't push her pain into pinvium. She can only put it into other people.
Oh, that is an intriguing concept. And you know what? I think this is actually a perfect segue, because I think we just timed this perfectly, because we're at 1:59 Eastern Standard Time in the United States. And I think that we just, we did a flurry of elevator speeches, and now we're at the top floor. And at 2 o'clock, I want you to just hold that thought, because this would be our first, like a perfect transition to our first drawing challenge. And because you mentioned her name is Naya, and now that I have an idea of what her power set is, that is just amazing. You set the foundation for this whole paying for pain. I just know that just sounds intriguing to me, and I don't know. Does that mean that you're a masochist, or I don't know what is the word for? I don't know. Not you. I'm just saying.
Like there.
No. I'm just saying the character. It's like the whole idea of this. It's so intriguing to me. And then you can bottle it up, bottling up pain, and then selling it as a weapon. Well,
yeah, imagine, Gerald, if you will, an axe made of pinvium. That when you're struck with it, all the pain stored in it is transferred to your victim.
Yeah, it's like an Eastern, I guess, like the Eastern philosophy of chi, to focus that. But we're talking, you're actually adding, chi is always described as, it's metaphysical. It's something that you can't really depict. If you do it in comic illustration, it's mystical looking, and it's like whatever, voodoo looking and stuff like that. But when you do it like this, when you think about it being bottled up, and you can use it to pour on your axe, imagining how you can just delve pain aside from the physical strike of like the axe or something like that, having the additional pain that's been stored and bought, and then having that projected on your enemy. Oh my gosh, that's just a intriguing concept. And I see where you're going with that whole rogue thing. I love it. I did not know that. I'm just finding this out too. Intriguing concept. And what I would like to do now is let's go into our first drawing challenge, where we draw Naya, which is the protagonist. And you can see in this, I'm gonna let our audience. This is a good way for people to check out what we have here. I would like our audience to know that we encourage them to draw along with us. We would love to have a whole slew of fan art that's all around the shifter, because we have some great guests and we have a great IP here that we're showcasing here. So Naya is the central character here, and you can see she has the glowing hands, which I guess is that's the pain collector hands, the glow that can...
Pretty much. Yeah, it's the representation of her power working. Kind of thing. She feels tingles, and it's more of a, like, I never really describe a visual in the book. It's fun to see the comic artist bring a visual to life, because the adaptation has been really interesting, because there are things that I never intended or never really described, and then the artists have brought it to life in a whole different way than I envisioned, and it is so much fun seeing what they do with it, because I'm a fantasy writer who doesn't really like doing a lot of details, which is it's just kind of bizarre. So I do the bare minimum of descriptions on things, because I'm more interested in the story and what people are doing and who the characters are. So having them take the little tiny bits of detail and turning it into visuals has been just fantastic to see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I just think that it's intriguing, the whole so I think
bless you.
Bless you. Let's I actually got so caught up in our pre-show that I didn't actually add my art cam. so I'm going to do that real quickly. And what I would like to do is let's start the drawing thing. So
well, slow down, because let's talk about what everyone's drawing, number one, and if you're a fan and you're watching the show, you guys can draw along with us and then put it in the show art group that is connected to Comics Cast, and we will show it on this show. So the focus is all right. Let's make sure that the character is up. This is our character here.
Yes.
For the first challenge. We'll talk about the second challenge, Brian and I and some others. As these guys are drawing, we'll figure out what our second challenge is going to be. We'll just kind of roll with it. And then you guys, share it on our show art group, and then we'll bring it up on the show as we bring up the finished art.
Yes, and Joe, thank you for reining me back in there because I jumped the gun a little bit. Yes, so we have a sister page which is called the Art Show, and that's
Art Show.
Yeah, like,
I built it, and I keep forgetting the name of it.
So I would like people to, if you want to draw along with us, do that, and then post your artwork there. Let us know in the comments field that you did draw along with us, and we will feature your artwork. So you can get on the spot fanfare critiques from our team that's here today. So if you look on the screen, this is Naya, and that's her magic hands where she can extract pain. And so what I would like to do as we're going to bring up the art cams, or actually it's not even art cams. We're going to have it's a treat for you guys. We're going to be doing digital for our two guest illustrators, which are going to be Zilson and HG. And since they're doing digital, Joe is going to have to play around with the camera so that we can show them building their art as we go. But again, this is our last look at what Naya looks like. We'll show her again at the end. But while we're doing it, I would love for your team, Brian, to just sort of like talk about like her look, the creative synergy that you mentioned before, based on Janice's novel description, your adaptation in terms of making it a comic book, and then how your artist came about doing it, the color palettes, just everything and anything about Naya. It'll be a good way for us to learn more about her and your book. So let's start out with 15 minutes. We'll go up to 20. Joe, I'll let you be the timekeeper, and you can tell us when pencils are down. So the clock.
All right, so we're going to go to 120, everybody. Make sure you guys push it over to the group. If you're not a fan or follow group, follow it real quick when you're about ready to send it up, and then we'll move forward. All right, so let me get everybody's art cams engaged. Zilson, there we go. We've got you up.
All
HG,
right.
got you. So we'll be able to pop around. And then we've also got, we can always solo out Gerald's cam as we go through. All right, cool. Let me see here. So, that's going to be fun because the little ticker on the bottom is going to block whose name. Let me play with that. All right, so
let's let the clock start. So let's start drawing.
It started. It's okay. You're gonna draw until 120. 120.
Okay. All right, I'm behind. All right, you guys take it away. Let's learn more about Naya.
More about Naya. Okay, I guess that falls to me. Well, Naya is 15. She's 15 years old. She is blonde hair, blue eyes, medium skin. She has been living on the street for the last 5 years, ever since soldiers occupied her town, killed her parents, and kicked her out onto the street. So she has a bit of a wariness about her, I suppose, because she has to constantly be on the lookout. She is definitely a caring person underneath that. She's always going to help somebody if she can. Let's see what other things about her. It's tough. I'm trying to think of physical things. That probably roughly sums her up. I'm not sure. Or her hair is kind of, she has curly hair in the book, but I think that's harder to illustrate. So I think they did her with the long hair, which she looks great. That's such a trivial detail. It does not matter. But if anyone wants to do curls, you are perfectly welcome to do that.
Curl it up. Yep.
Janice, one thing you can talk about too, in addition to her physical appearance, is what led to her. Obviously, you just described why she was out on the street, but you can talk about her trials and tribulations even before the novel begins. Obviously, there's a history before that, and what you can tell us about is where the novel starts and how she got to be in that position.
Oh, well, that's fun. I cannot wait actually to see that panel. The book opens with Naya stealing chickens. Well, not stealing chickens, stealing eggs. Sorry, let me rephrase that. Stealing eggs. The first line of the book is stealing eggs is a lot harder than stealing the whole chicken. Mm-hmm. And she is hungry. She hasn't eaten for several days, and she has snuck into a rancher She lives on an island city, and she snuck in there to steal the eggs for her breakfast. And she's not stealing the entire chicken, because if she steals the chicken, she's going to rob the rancher of his livelihood. And she doesn't want to do that. So she's stealing because she has no choice, but she also doesn't want to do anything to hurt somebody else, which is showing that she is a good person deep down, even though she has to resort to theft in order to survive. And then, of course, she is caught by a night guard and the rancher, and chaos ensues. And there's a fun chase scene. And then by the end of that scene, she actually ends up using her powers to heal the night guard who breaks his ankle. And she doesn't want to do anything. She feels bad for him. And then she kind of helps him to escape. And part of the fact that he's 17 and a total cutie has nothing to do with the fact that but yeah, so this is this is I won't give away too many details, but this is a character who does come back into the story and plays a major role in the series. But look at that! That is fantastic. This is so very cool seeing these guys draw. Like, just I love it. She reminds me of Mulan.
Mulan, okay. I think it's great the way you describe the story. It's definitely a teen focused, like, it sounds like that. But you know what? As somebody who just is into like K-pop now, I'm like, I totally maybe I'm going through this midlife crisis where I gotta like experience these things from like my past and like get into like these things. So it's intriguing to me see this. I can totally see how you're setting this up, and I just think that it's so cool. Now I look at her garb here, and when I first looked at it, is there time travel here, or what is? I don't want you to give away anything, but
there's no time travel. It is a classic traditional otherworld, created world fantasy.
Okay.
They talk about it. And my inspirations for that, like you'll see in the background, the Healers League is a major part of the story, and my inspiration for that was Hagia Sophia, because it's one of my favorite buildings.
Oh, okay.
So I kind of thought of this big domes and the spires and then the windows and like all the different levels and stuff. So when they were coming up with the covers and my inspirations and the photos I sent to the artist, these are the things that I had thought about. And I wanted to do kind of a canal city like Venice, but set on a lake in a tropical setting. Okay. So I pull from the real world in order to the foundation for my stories. So I was thinking of Venice on a lake. So I'd like the canals and the arched bridges and various things. And I thought of, and I grew up in South Florida, and I live in Florida, so I know heat and humidity. So I wanted it to be kind of very tropical with palm trees and crocodiles and, just the heat and the oppressiveness of that. But I wanted also a shallow lake. So I thought of, like, geographically Lake Victoria in Uganda. Was kind of my base for that. So it all kind of grew from that, which was kind of a mishmash of things.
Yeah, so this is not like on Earth. It's a fictional world.
It's not on Earth at all. Yeah. Totally fictional world. All of it's there. And the whole magic system is all around this magical metal and healing. And you have enchanters who are the ones who actually take the metal, take Pimvium, and turn it into various things. So they'll turn it into a sword or an axe or a strip of metal you put at your window that's triggered to flash pain if anybody breaks in, that kind of thing. So it's really, this metal is what you can do, and you can shape it into almost anything that you want, and then people buy and sell. So when you're really down on your luck, you can go to a pain merchant and sell pain to get money. So it's a very oppressed trouble. They had the enemy. In the original backstory for when the shifter opens, the town of Gaveg, of the island, rebelled for their own independence against the Basiri, who are the enemies, kind of thing. And the Duke soldiers came in, put down the rebellion, and took over, and have occupied the city ever since. And a lot of bad things happened to that. Parents died. Yeah, there's, it's funny because it's written for children for ages 10 and up. But it's definitely not, there's nothing fluffy or light about this series at all. I have a terrible dark side. This will tell you a lot about my personality. My two favorite movies in the whole world are Aliens and Mary Poppins.
That is opposite ends of the spectrum.
Specifically, aliens. Is that what we're talking about? Or
Aliens,
like
the second one.
the
Yeah,
James-
no,
Okay.
the second,
James Cameron one. Yeah.
the James Cameron one. Oh, yes.
The
those two,
Colonial
I love.
Marines. That is such
Yeah.
an idea. And Brian, I think you're about ready to interject. I was actually going to talk to you about like the challenges of like of adapting this to a comic book format. But you were about ready to interject something. Go ahead and tell us your thoughts. What did you think about adapting this really cool idea about pain merchants?
Well, the first thing I wanted to interject was at the beginning of the description of Naya, Janice talked about the fact that she's blonde-haired, blue-eyed, and that's significant in the story because that speaks that she's from Gevig. And the Basiri have the dark black hair, and that sets them apart from one another pretty quickly as you're walking the streets. If you're in that island city, you know who's from where and who's the oppressor, who's the oppressed. And as far as the adaptation, yes, it was kind of difficult. My first inclination was to make 3 5-issue miniseries to cover, 5 issues for each of the novels. But sometimes a 22-page floppy doesn't sell as well with the indie comics community. So we talked about putting it all together in one novel to be an entire trade paperback. But to be honest with you, and this can sort of hearken to what we were talking about in as much as the crowdfunding campaign goes. When you talk about doing it all 5 issues in a single trade paperback, now to sort of get into the business of things, that's 150 pages. If you put the 5 issues together, and then with the customary behind the scenes sketches and things that people like to see in trade paperbacks, 150 pages can be pretty costly because I went out and hired some top-notch talent, and we've got contracts. I don't want to talk money, but just the idea is that I made sure that they'll be well compensated for their time and their skill, and I want them to also enjoy doing this. I want them to enjoy working with me. My payment methodology is such that they get paid for the page as soon as it's completed. There's no back-end percentages or things like that. So with that in mind, that's why I thought this would be a great time to open this up to crowdfunding. The previous issues that you saw on Dojo Kun Comics when I did my elevator pitch were all done without crowdfunding. So if I can just take a moment for some shameless plug here, what that'll do for you, for those of you who are considering backing the shifter, is it'll give you confidence when you back that you'll know that this will be fulfilled because I can do this. I've proven 12 times over that I can get a comic book done. And with this creative staff, we've got a great synergy with Janice's input and her vision for the whole world and the 3 novels. We're going to do it a little differently than 150 pages, though. We're going to tone that down. And when we launch this on Indiegogo, it's going to probably be a 48 to maybe 56. I got to do this right. It's got to be divisible by 4. That's how the printing works.
Yes.
But whatever the right number is, and what I mean by the right number, and this goes back to Gerald's question, how did I do this adaptation? So I started writing the scripts right from the very beginning. Like she said, the opening scene is Naya stealing eggs, and what really sets this whole thing in motion. And once I got to 22 pages, and I wasn't done yet with what I considered the first chapter, I said, well, it doesn't have to be 22 pages. There's no rules. I'm the publisher. I can go to 28 if I need to. Mm-hmm. So in fact, the first issue, when I was making it a miniseries, turned out to be around 28 to 30 pages. So that's what I would consider to be a chapter. So what I'm going to do with this initial launch is we're probably going to put 2 chapters together and make it close to a 48 to somewhere in the 50s page book. There will be extras. There will be some behind the scenes sketches, work that you saw, for example, Zilson held up right before we started this drawing challenge. He showed us his 11 by 17 picture of the cover. Things like that are of great interest to a lot of people who want to back a project and be a part of it when it's in the very beginning. So we want to make that available too. And, with campaigns, we're going to have stretch goals, we're going to have add-ons, and just some fun things to make it fun to be a part of the project as a backer. We'd like people to be well engaged. And right now, if you go to our website, there's a pop-up window will open for you and ask you to join our mailing list. And that's a great opportunity for you to get in on our updates, and we'll tell you about the shifter. We're going to be completely transparent for you as things progress, so that you can see that this isn't just me taking your money and saying, hey, thanks, everybody. No, instead, it'll be, hey, thank you, and here's what we're doing with it. Here's page 1. I'm not going to show you every page, but I'll show you, here we are developing it. Here's Zilson's line work. Here's HG adding the colors, the pop. And then, of course, every now and then I'll show you some lettering. If it doesn't give away too much, I don't want to give spoilers. But you'll see some things that Matias is adding to the progress. And you'll see the sound effects pop and, the captions. And that's something I wanted to talk about, too. With captions, in the past, if a character was doing exposition in their mind, you would see it in a thought bubble. Today in comic books, that's really gone to the wayside now, and instead it becomes a narrative box. So I use those pretty heavily when I'm speaking in the character's voice, but it's their inside voice. And I ask that the letterers, and this is, I'd like to talk to Matias about this for a minute. Matias, if you could, talk to us about when I use something like a thought that the character is, going over in their mind, not speaking. What do you do differently with the lettering to make that evident?
Well, the first thing is to give some identity to the caption, and probably you need to think if you want to do a personal voice, like this character has a voice of hero or their own, and in that case you want to do maybe something with the letters or with the box to pop up or to distinguish from the other voices or captions you might have in the book.
So do you mean like the shape of the caption, the box itself?
It could be the shape, or it could be something with the letters.
Okay.
So that might change. I think the best thing in this case is to have a look of the whole project and to evaluate which of the characters will speak differently from the others, and if it's a necessity or if it's not. Sometimes you don't want the characters to difference themselves with each other,
Right.
So I don't know if that's a decision made already. I haven't read the books yet. I would love to. And I haven't read the whole script, but that's something we, I suppose, Brian and I will talk about it and watch some options and see which one do you prefer.
That's great. I like to hear that you think about each character having their own voice when it comes to captions, because you're right. If they all just look like an orange box, that won't make it clear which character is thinking this, particularly if there's more than one character in the shot. So we're going to want to differentiate the characters, like you said a few minutes ago. I like that idea. Sometimes even just the color of the narrative box. If, for example, you're putting the box in there and this is going to be Naya speak, maybe it's a blue that sort of mirrors her manifestation of power. Whereas instead, when you're giving a thought, like perhaps it's Danello, the cute boy that she meets when she's stealing the eggs. If it's Danello, maybe it'll be a light red because it'll differentiate him from Naya. I like that idea a lot.
Yes.
All right, guys. Let me let everyone know we're going to do about another minute. We're over our time, about 2 minutes. So let's go ahead and pencils down in about a minute and a half, just so you guys can close out some elements that you're doing. I love the crosstalk, but I have to come in and be the timekeeper. So
okay.
Just to follow up on what your conversation with Matias. That is, we talk about it's the unsung heroes of our letterers, because we talked about just little subtle details about how changing the color of that narrative box, that's, I think, I always talk about how, when you read a comic and it's confusing, you don't know who's talking, it's just bad. It doesn't work. But when you read a good comic book, it's because all the elements just feel right. They lead your eye with a line work. You know who's talking with a letterer. You know from the inks and the colors, establishing the mood. It's like things that we take for granted. And I think that's what seeing all these moving parts at Dojo Kun with the shifter, seeing how we could take a novel, adapt it to a comic book, and have all these players, inkers, colorers, letterers, all coming in here to make a really great product. And that's what you're going to see. That's what I think people, if you want to back this book, it's not there. The Indigo is not up just yet. Joe mentioned that I think he showed it. I glanced up here. He showed that there is a sign up page. If you go to the website, again, don't go there now, but go to Dojo Kun Comics, that link that we showed you before, and there'll be a sign up page. So you can get on the mailing list, be the first to know when the Indiegogo campaign goes live. So that being said, are we at time now?
We're at time. Let's go ahead and do pencils down. So I do want to make sure that I'm going to swing by our Facebook page. All right. So
yes.
Let's see here.
Yes. Joe is going to check to see if anybody posted to our art show. So if you did.
Yeah. So as of now, we're not looking at a lot of. So I posted on there. I'm going to show you guys where it is real quick, so everyone who's watching can see it. Mm-hmm. It is the art show. This is where it is. Mm-hmm. This is your post. It's right over top of the video that's playing right now.
Yep.
All right. So go ahead and make sure you guys post there. Make sure it's specifically to the challenges, and these guys is great characters. That's the whole reason we do it, so we can highlight their characters. We can promote their characters through fan art, because I think the biggest thing that we do wrong in this business as artists is that we chase hashtags, drawing Batman and Superman and whatever. Let's do fan art of indie creations, because they're the best. It does two things. Number one, it lets people know, like Brian, who can draw their characters really well. They may actually look you up, and it also promotes their work. So you're talking to the people that could potentially get you hired tomorrow, versus looking at that Marvel, DC, the big three. So there's nothing wrong with looking at the big three, but let's keep focusing on these indie guys. All right. Yeah. So make sure that you're promoting it, specifically the images from the show, though. Okay, guys. All right.
Yeah. So let us know in the comments field if you drew along with us. So Joe, let's solo out. Let's see let's see what HD did.
All right. Perfect. HG is up. There we go. Look at that.
Oh my gosh. And this is
and signed.
Yeah. This is what I totally love about having guests on this particular show, is because I have to resist the temptation to not look up, because obviously we have a clock that we're going against. And oh my God, I'm just looking at this stuff, and it always impresses me with my guests, because they go above and beyond. At her being a colorist, I can see why she went ahead and just not only did the line work, but she put the color in there too. You get this mood already established. It's more of a she's
attitude.
Yes, you feel like she's a little bit. Yeah.
Pardon me for jumping in and interrupted. This just blows me away.
How dare you?
I know. Sorry. Well, I can't. Wait.
Yes, go for it.
HG did such an amazing job, because the drawing is so simple, yet it's simplistic, elegant. But she captures Naya's attitude. Like, she just has this, yes, I am down. Yes, everything is just horrible. The stakes, what I'm up against is just monumental, but I am going to just push forward and do it because it's the right thing to do. Like, you can just see that resignation yet strength in that expression. She captured Naya perfectly. She really did. And I
love the subtle look of regret that Naya knows she's got power, that she's got a dangerous power where it can be weaponized. And you can see that in the fact that her eyes are closed. She's kind of like, unhappy that she's got to use her power, yet her fist is clenched, which shows a resolution that, I'm going to have to do what's right. And this is a great piece.
Man, you guys totally take the words out of my mouth. I don't know, Matias. Do you have any thoughts in terms of this? I just,
Yes, I like it. I like it a lot. I like how they play with the light, and
yes.
the the little parts, with more light on it. I like it.
Yeah.
I've been a fan watching it all the way through as I sort of like flopped around, you bounced around different cameras, and all I could do is I was like, okay, I'm just enjoying watching this process so much. But now I'm just counting how many different light sources are on this character. And it's so much fun.
Yeah, 3.
3. All right, very good. I love it. Absolutely love it.
I wanted to do like innocent, make her look like innocent, because also I mean it's all of what you said. She's regretful. She has to do what she has to do, but she doesn't want to. But I wanted to give her the chance to look like young, because she's 15, right? And she wasn't like, yeah, she's 15. We have a tendency to, like, when we were, I mean, I don't know about you, but when I read it, I used to read a lot of novels, books about young people, and I always imagined, like when you watch a TV show, but they are being shown like by adult actors. So I wanted to like take a step back and make her look young, because she is. Yes. And sometimes we forget, because let's be honest, when there is a war going on, we forget that they are just kids.
Yeah, that is. You just captured so much in there. But anyway, let's keep on going with this. I want to see what Zilson did. Can we show what Zilson drew?
I'm trying to find his. Did I lose your? I may have lost your.
Oh, I see another
camera, Zilson. Zilson, you may need to re-upload your camera because it was just up.
Yeah, you need to share your application again.
Yeah, you lost your application.
Oh, there, I think it's coming back up right now. Here we go.
All right, I got it.
All right. Oh,
that's awesome.
Pardon me, I'm going to go on the floor right now.
Isn't that amazing how quickly he did that?
I know. I love the completely different takes and the styles and stuff. Like, I look at this and I was like, this is Naya after she's gone through everything that she goes through in the trilogy, like afterwards, and she's like become who she is, and she's a little older, because I think they've aged it up for the comic, which again is totally fine. Mm-hmm. And this feels like Naya 5 years from when the book. Yeah, and she's confident. You can see that. Yeah, I know, I'm tough. I did this, and she's got that serenity to her, and she has matured, and I love that.
Oh my gosh, Zilson, you still got that vibe, that '90s vibe that I just totally love. And you're right. She does have a look of more. When we compare this to what HG, I love how you guys are. You're getting this from the creator of the whole series, Janice, talking about how these are almost like period pieces, from like where she was year 0 to year 5. She's developed that confidence, she's matured, she showed that apprehension that she had in HG, where she's innocent and coming to terms with her powers. And then here we have Zilson showing her in a much more mature, confident state. It's almost like, better watch out. That's the sassy rogue look. I think it's like,
yeah.
I can deal some pain on you. Better stay away, But and you put in colors too. I was like, I just did pencils. You guys did colors and inks, and I am so jealous of you guys. But that's why we have you on the show, because you guys are total pros. Just awesome work. So
that, hey Gerald, I drew along too. You want to see?
Oh yes.
Do you want to see why a writer needs to hire a real artist?
All right, let's do it.
Okay, let's do it. Straight up.
Wait, I got to do this right.
Oh!
Hey, listen, that's super pro.
Hey, but
That's
you know what?
That's
the whole thing about art, though. It's like, you know what? I feel Brian was inspired by you guys, seeing you guys draw. So I think that he felt inclined. And you know what, Brian, that is the thing about characters. When you draw characters, it's not so much, did I make it look like Jim Lee? Did I make it look like David Finch? Did I make it look like Zilson and HG? It's more about your interpretation and the fact that you were brave enough to do it. And when you did it, it's recognizable. That's the thing. I think you shared like a Wolverine drawing. I knew that was Wolverine, before. You showed like Naya, looks like Naya. I definitely got that vibe from it. So kudos to you.
Well,
Thank you.
before we go to Gerald, talking about being brave, talking about showing your artwork, we do have Sarah from the group, from the chat, who wanted to
Excellent.
share hers. So let's bring hers up real quick, and then we'll go to yours and move on to the next challenge.
Yeah, let's do that. And just to give a little preface in terms of who Sarah is like super fan. I have just gotten to know her recently. Well, not we chatted a little bit on Facebook, but we're talking about international cast here. She hails from Egypt. So we got somebody from Egypt. She's an aspiring artist, and she's trying to build momentum in her community because I don't think the comic scene, much less the indie comic scene, is very big. But look at this.
Hey,
she's a great.
Nice.
that's good stuff. Having only seen the character for a couple of seconds, right?
Yeah, that's great.
And Sarah,
I
thank
love
you.
the sense of movement.
Yeah, thank you so much. She's been a real trooper, and I think she did all three of our challenges last week. So I think she's going to try and do it again this time. So Sarah, thank you so much. Awesome work, and you got the thumbs up from the creative team here.
So you're going to make sure that I get a copy of that, right?
Yeah, we shared it. She shared it on our art show.
Excellent.
You can do that, and Sarah, if you want to send our creators, like if you want that are here on the show, reach out to them. I'm sure they'd be willing to maybe talk to you about each of their individual areas of expertise. That's the whole thing about this whole experience on Indie Comics Cast or Comics Cast and Indie Comics Cast. Let it out is that we want to have that intimate relationship where you actually can talk to the artists that were here. They'd be more than happy to talk to you. So I feel a little small. I don't know if I really want to show my artwork, but Joe.
Oh yeah, it's coming.
Let's get it over
It's
with,
coming.
so we can get past the pain point here. So go easy on me, guys. I was inspired by you guys' artwork, and this is what I came up with. So let's see.
Hey, look at that.
Looks rad.
That's
Nice.
that's Naya in her
is.
totally don't mess with me look.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm bringing the pain.
So good.
yeah. This was a good follow-up after seeing Zilson's, because it's like Zilson had her like dealing the pain, and this is her getting ready to she's going to deal the pain. So
Yeah, this is definitely her in book 3.
all right, so
She has had it with everybody. She is going to take care of things.
right. So you can actually see a little bit of rogue influence in there too.
Yes, I
And
can
no-
see that big time.
You're right. I when you talked about rogue and me being a big comic nerd, everybody is talking about WandaVision. With I don't know if you guys have
yeah.
the Disney Plus, but I just like the whole magic thing that talking about Naya, about that world that you've created, and I felt like maybe Scarlet Witch fits into that world too, and I was like, I had like all these ideas of like who Naya is, and I decided to go, hey, let's do a roguish Scarlet Witches, make it look like Naya, type thing. So it was so fun. And I had such a great time doing it. You guys are all inspirational to me, and I'm sure our audience just loved hearing more about Naya. So here we go. Let's move to our next drawing challenge, and this is the challenge where it's kind of an open challenge. It's my co-host, whoever I have on here. Usually they help with it, or we open it up to the audience prior to the show. We are going to put all of that responsibility into Joe's hands. So it's going to be the Joe challenge. And they're a little fun. They're spontaneous. I have no idea what it's about. So HG, Zilson, I am in your boat right now. I don't know. It could be completely random off the wall stuff. And it's funner if it is completely that way. But I'm going to let Joe describe it and get maybe the other team involved. Joe, you take it away.
So this is what I was thinking of. We were going to talk to Brian, and we're going to have a whole conversation about it. Now I'm going to throw something out there, and you guys can do it or not. It's up to you. I think it might be kind of cool. Since Janice said her inspiration for this character is a pretty well-known character, I think we might want to do something where we draw that character and somebody sends it to Janice as an appreciation for all of her writing that created this wonderful world. Now, that being said, whoever we'll just either send all of them or send one. We'll figure it out. But I can definitely support that, getting that over to Janice. And then we'll do Let's do Rogue,
Mm.
but 90s Rogue, Jim Lee style, something like that. Now, I'm not talking about Jim Lee and Jim Lee style. I'm talking about not from the movies, but Rogue from the comics. Now, are we talking cartoon, or are we talking Rogue from the comics?
I think
a little of both, but definitely. I grew up. Yeah, I mean, I definitely enjoyed the old cartoon with that ringing of the bell and the theme song and everything with the yellow and the green and the white. Yeah, that definitely. When I think of Rogue, that does tend to be what I think of.
Okay.
Why don't we do this? Let's do a Rogue. We'll do 15 minutes, and then we'll have some fun with it. And then you guys can clean it up however you want later, and we'll figure out how we get it over to Janice after that.
Okay.
But I definitely will support that 100%. I think that would be fun.
Right.
But yeah, your take on Rogue, but specifically more the comics than the movie character who just walked around, moped around all the time, and it's just sad.
It was not Rogue. It was not Rogue.
It's not Rogue.
Okay.
But I will strongly appreciate it if they brought that Rogue back and she magically somehow gained her power through a certain MCU character that might exist right now.
We do, we do have her movie, and they're all in the same universe now.
They're all there.
I would love to see
they can make it happen.
Yeah, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. And you know what? Just to throw it out there, because I hope everybody knows who Rogue is, right? I mean,
do we need to pop up a Rogue drawing?
If you want to pull it up,
you guys start sketching. I'll bring Rogue up. We got 15 minutes. I'll figure it out. Sean Mendoza is in the chat. He is a student at the Hubert School of Comics.
Oh wow!
So thanks for being on in the chat there, Sean. We are doing Rogue from the comics, so feel free to draw along and put it in there. Who's Rogue? Sean, I'm gonna. How are you at the Hubert School and not know who Rogue is?
I think he's kidding. I hope he's kidding.
You need to do. It's called Google. Ask Siri. Oh my gosh! I'll bring her up.
And I know we're drawing Rogue here, but I kind of would like before we bring up that drawing, I kind of would like to hear maybe because the team now has seen Naya, and I don't know if the art direction has been given to them. It's like, Janice likes Rogue, and
they never heard that.
They didn't hear that. Okay.
They never heard it because, I mean, I have told that story in front of schools, in front of middle schoolers for years.
Right.
But I don't think Brian and I ever talked about it, and it wasn't anything that ever came up until you guys asked the question. It didn't even dawn on me that, oh my gosh, she did come from a comic book. Like, this is perfect. So yeah, I hadn't even thought about that. I don't think Brian ever knew that.
No, I didn't. When you describe it too, Janice, a character that also comes to mind is Raven from the Teen Titans. The George Perez, another one where she can touch someone and bring their malady into their body, and then rather than put it into something or someone, she just expels it, but she goes through the agony first.
Yeah, that is actually another good reference too. And I think now you brought up Raven, that was my question I was going to pose to Matias, to HG, to Zilson, you too, Brian. When you see Naya, like, what other characters does, like, from your own personal experience, for what you've read or watched, does Naya inspire like a act?
There's my girl.
Yeah, just does she draw any parallels to somebody that you've seen or a comic character in your life? So let's just Brian, I mean, you mentioned Raven, of course. Did you have any other ones? And then I'm going to let you kind of like talk to your team here and sort of like guide them through it while I'm drawing, because I can't draw and talk at the same time.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Thanks, Gerald. Yeah, that's a good point. Although I did talk about another comic book character that I think of when I think of Naya, Raven, but there's also two movie characters that I think of as I read the entire, story that Naya goes through, and that is the downtrodden position that Katniss Everdeen finds herself in the Hunger Games. And although this isn't written in the same, it's not the same world type, it's not the same kind of oppression, but her and the main character for Divergent, for example, find themselves in something that's a bit dystopian, something that they are among the oppressed, and they find the strength or the skill or the support from their supporting cast to stand up against the oppressors. And so I think that Naya fits that archetype very, very well. And so, that's why I say, Hollywood, take notice.
Well, Brian, it's funny you say that because I first heard about the Hunger Games when, right about the time when The Shifter was out on submission, when I was talking to my editor. It was either right before or right after they purchased it, or my publisher. And because the Hunger Games was just going out for advanced reader copies, it hadn't been published yet. And I was having, and the editors were saying, this reminds me of the Hunger Games, not in the plot, but it's the same type of it. There's a very strong-willed young character who makes a sacrifice for a younger sister and ends up triggering a civil war for independence with her country, her people. And at the core, they're the same stories. They're very similar stories, even though we do it in completely different ways. I'm not Suzanne Collins. I mean, she's amazing, but they are at the core, they are very, very similar stories. And I thought that was really interesting. So the fact that you kind of picked up and got a Hunger Games vibe off of that is funny, because I hear that a lot. And like I said, I had first heard about it because, I mean, it wasn't even published when I had written this. So it was kind of fun that we both had a very similar concept and ran with it in two completely different ways.
Yeah, don't discount yourself when you say you're not Suzanne Collins. That's okay, because you're Janice Hardy, and I enjoyed the novels just as much, if not more.
Well, thank you.
That's what I want to hear.
Janice Hardy, the coolest person named Janice on the internet. We're starting this now. Hashtag Janice.
Cool Janice. Yeah, hashtag cool.
Yeah. Hey, so Zilson, just to let you know, I don't have your cam up, so I can't share it. So you're gonna need to pull it back up onto the show, and I'll bring it up for you. You've got a dual cam on you currently, but not on your art. So you need to bring that up when you have a chance.
Yeah,
I'd love to show what's going on.
Yeah, just share your app. You don't need to share the other cam. Share the app, and that'll.
There we go. Got it. Excellent. Look at that. Here we go. Now we're cooking with gas. Look at that dynamic angle. Looking beautiful.
I'm resisting. I'm not going to look just yet, but
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. It absolutely is everything that's cool about Rogue. Flying into battle with fist out. Very neat.
So I was trying to get Matias to talk a little bit here about. So what does the character Naya remind you about? Is there a character from Argentina or maybe Italy that or it could be totally mainstream. It could be from America, or from, like I said, the great country of Florida or Michigan. If you want to, maybe there's some Michigan heroines and or Floridian heroines. So anyway, Matias, tell us about Naya. Knowing now a little bit about Naya, does she invoke or inspire any parallels to characters that you love?
Well, hearing of you guys talking about her, I don't know if it's like a similar character. I don't think so, but I thought about Bryce Dallas Howard in Lady in the Water. It has nothing to do with it, but that's the image I had listen to you talk about her. I don't know why. Maybe when Janice said about the curly hair, the picture finished in my mind, and I love that movie, and I love how the character is so mysterious and full of secrets, and I hope Naya can have some of that quality.
She does.
Great.
Lots of secrets.
Just so I'm clear, you said the lady in the water, right? Or the lady, it's a Bryce. What was the name of the movie again?
Lady in the Water. Yeah.
Yes. That was that an M. Night Shyamalan?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah. I like that movie too. I think that M. Night Shyamalan got trashed. His movies got totally trashed on or dissed.
Are you guys talking about Shape of Water?
No, it's the lady. I think it's called The Lady in the Water. It's
The
a
Lady in the Water. Okay.
yeah. It had a Paul. Is it Paul Giamatti?
That's actually one of my favorite ones, and nobody liked
Yeah.
it.
Yeah,
It had the one guy with the strong arm. He had like one arm that was super
Whoa.
strong, and the other one couldn't do anything.
yeah, and there was they also had there was another movie I think that people totally hated, which was The Village. People hated The Village. I like The Village. But Bryce Dallas Howard, I like her as an actress, and she's an accomplished director too. She directed some episodes of The Mandalorian, which is really
Okay.
cool. Yeah,
That gives her some street cred.
yeah.
Or, I mean, nerd cred. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I tell you, like when you have when you're the daughter of Ron Howard, I definitely she probably has a lot of big shoes to fill. People said, oh, maybe it's because your dad is so and so or whatever, and no, she has creds. She definitely can direct and she can act, and those movies are testament to that. So but yeah, I like that movie too. I have to go back and watch it. I think I have it on DVD. DVD sounds so old now. So but yeah, I'm going to talk to, I guess, Zilson and HG. When you drew or you colored and drew Naya, was there any characters that maybe you drew inspiration from when you drew your depictions of Naya? I mean, was there a rogue vibe that you came up with too?
Zilson, you want to go first with that one?
Oh.
Did we lose his audio?
Yeah, let me I think you muted yourself. Nope, can't unmute you, Zilson. Gotta unmute yourself. Oh no. All right. So you're muted. You have to click on your device there. Right down on the bottom. Unmute mic. This is where music would come in really well. We'll just play music. No, you're fine. It's nothing to do with that. You just got to go to the StreamYard on the bottom. There you go.
Can you hear
All
me?
right. Yep, you're up. We got you.
Can you hear me?
Yep, you're good. You can.
Yes.
You're up.
I've got no inspiration for the first time with a rogue.
Also,
I don't think a rogue should draw in Naya.
Okay, how about
But
you?
now
HG?
you are speaking about this. Really, they are really looks like.
Oh, they look. So what you're saying is they look similar now that you're actually looking at them. That there is an inspiration, sort of a connective tissue there. I got you. Sound like there was a comma.
I am really a great fan from the Jin Lee area.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, the whole
X-Men.
the whole animated series was based on his X-Men, which was pretty cool. I always dug that.
Yes.
They've also got one of the best themes out there.
It's made really a great success in Brazil.
Yeah, there's so many memories tied to that. I don't know. Was the X-Men cartoon big in Spain, HG, or do you have an idea of what Rogue would her look like? I know you did a younger version of her. So was there an inspiration that you drew from in terms of like depicting your version of Rogue?
You mean Rogue or Naya? I think you were asking about Naya first.
Yeah, we're drawing Rogue because Rogue was the kind of like the unknown inspiration for Janice. She liked that. But I was just asking for your personal opinion. When you saw Naya for the first time, did you think of Rogue, or did you think of?
No, she might have reminded me of maybe Buffy.
Oh, Buffy the Vampire.
All the
Totally
leather
cool.
jacket, the blue eyes, blonde hair. I don't know, but more shy, a bit more shy or more into herself rather than Buffy. Buffy is more confident, but I mean physically.
I know what you're talking
Sorry.
about. Yeah.
Well, that works too. And even then, I mean, she does have some Buffy-esque qualities there, is that she has the weight of the world on her shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, her world is much smaller than Buffy's. Hers is just one little island, but still, she feels responsible for things that maybe, you know, she's way too young to be handling.
I always thought the Buffy character must have been. First off, let's look at about 3 more minutes,
2 more
and then
minutes.
we'll shut it down. Buffy must have been a huge inspiration for a lot of writers because you did have a lot with the 80s and the early 90s. There was a lot of strong female characters, leads with the alien movies and everything else that was going on.
Sarah
And then
Connor,
Buffy comes
Terminator.
along. Buffy was originally a movie. I don't know if everyone here is tracking that, but yeah. So the Buffy TV show was a really solid show. It must have inspired a lot of new characters for writers. And Janice, as a writer, I imagine, you know, there's just stories that you come across. I'm constantly watching movies and just thinking, okay, I got to go write for like the next 4 hours, and then I write for an hour, and then I get, you know, distracted or something. I got to go eat a sandwich or whatever. And then I never finish my script. I have like 8 notebooks that are halfway finished with scripts and nothing finished. So I'm the worst. I'm the worst. But yeah, I'd love to hear from you, Janice, about what was the moment that you went full board into your writing, and why did you decide that was your passion that you wanted to go after?
Interesting. Well, I have been a writer my entire life, or a storyteller my entire life. My mother says when I was little, I would draw pictures and tell stories about the picture. So I think I was a writer even before I could actually write. I love stories. I've always been enamored with them, and it doesn't matter what format. I'm a huge gamer. I love books. I love TV. I like movies. You know, stories in any format just absolutely captivate me. And it was one of those things that I always did. And what's funny is that my background is actually in graphic design. Not these guys. I'm not an illustrator. You guys are amazing.
Yeah.
Kindred spirits.
Yes.
Yep, and that kind of thing. And I had 2 talents. I had art and I had writing when I had to go to college. And I figured there were a lot more. I'd starve faster as a writer than I would as an artist, because there's a lot more commercial opportunities for artists than there are writers. So I always wrote on the side, and then I went into the design work. But it was one of those things that years passed, and I would try to write, and it's a tough business. And then when Naya came along, and I started working on that story, and it was kind of the first story that I realized I had something magical. You know, it's like I had plenty of other stories, plenty of other books. I'd written many novels. It was always something I wanted to do with my life. It was my dream. That was my passion. One day I wanted to be an author. One day I wanted to see my books in the bookstores and have people reading them and various things. But Naya was the first time where I just knew as soon as her voice came to me and she spoke to me, and the chicken scene came to me, and I just knew that I had something. The chicken scene is the scene. It's really funny. And this is a little aside here with writers, but I'm one of those writers that it takes me, if I don't have the right opening line, I can't start a story. So sometimes it'll take me a month or two. So it took me about a month to come up with stealing eggs is harder than stealing the whole chicken. And I refer to it as my chicken scene. I didn't know what my opening scene was for the book for a long time. And anytime I'm talking with my writer friends and they're having trouble with their opening scene, or they're having trouble with the beginning of their novel, it's become like a shorthand. She's like, I just haven't found my chicken scene yet. So that's kind of in my little group of, half dozen writers or whatever. That's our shorthand for coming up with a story. But
so funny. It's like Colonel Sanders is inspiring writers across.
That's right, chicken seeds. So.
KFC, Chick-fil-A. I don't know. I don't know what big chicken chains are out in Argentina, Italy, Spain, or Brazil. But KFC is Popeyes. I don't know. Popeyes is really good, but what came first, the chicken or the egg? I don't know. It's just really cool to see the inspiration, you know. And so I'm gonna have to use that. You know, what is your chicken story? Maybe
Chicken scene. That's right. A chicken scene. What's the first thing?
Yeah.
That moment of inspiration.
Yeah.
All right. Weapon. Wow, I said weapons down. Pencils down. Digital pencils down.
Yeah, it's like
Coloring
we're all
down.
using Naya weapon hands.
I see you up there, HG. I see you plugging away.
All right.
You're on the cam.
Okay, let's mix it up. Let's show Zilson's first this time. So Zilson, you want to solo out his camera, Joe?
All right. Here we go. There we go. Awesome. Can we bring him up? Zilson, bring him up. Bring her up.
Yeah. Let's rotate her so we can see that.
Wow, very clean. Look at those. Look at those hands.
Oh, that's
Wow.
Nice.
great.
Stunning work.
I love the foreshortening of the right arm and the I'm sorry, I'm not an artist. What's it called when you've got the perspective of the back leg going off into the distance?
That's foreshortening too. It's just going into
The little curvature of the left leg as it comes down.
Yeah.
That's very nice. Good job.
Let
me so Matt, I'm going to speak directly to Matt Campbell. Feel free to bring it in. If you want to just message it to us, if you're having issues, you can message it directly to Comics Cast on our Facebook page if you want to. Just Google search Comics Cast and the message directly to us. I'll be looking for messages, all right? Just so I make sure it gets up on the screen. All right, guys, sorry, I'm multitasking. I can only juggle so much.
Yeah.
All right. That's fantastic work. Zilson, very nice, very clean. Wow, the hair, everything is just really clean. Very nice work.
So fast.
Nice little elbow.
I know.
I mean, absolutely love line work. A little bit of line weight in there that you got.
And the strokes.
The belt.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Those brush strokes too. Like he's not even like he's going straight to ink.
You're still cheating, Zilson. We got to put the pencils down.
And you know what? Zilson,
I was signing it.
oh, yeah.
Signing it.
Zilson, you can take this to the next level. You can polish it up, and we will share it. You know, as a follow up, you know, to this show, I will share it definitely. Heck, I'm gonna just.
How much does it cost for Zilson to go in there and color that? How does that work?
Maybe we have HG come in there.
I feel like what we should have done for this maybe is done a 3-part challenge with the main character. First part, draw it. Second part, color it. Third part, do lettering, and then that would have been a complete page.
Oh, that'll be
awesome. Hey, wait a minute. What about the writer?
We're gonna save that. We're gonna put that. We're gonna put that in our pocket because
We could add a bubble with something.
yeah, when your Indiegogo launches, we'd love to have you guys back, and maybe we can do that as part of our challenge. So keep that in mind, Brian. You know, let us
Great idea.
when that Indiegogo comes up. So let's
All right, HG.
let's go see HG.
All right.
Oh yeah, here.
Love the light. Look at all that lighting. So pure.
Yes.
Oh, so very cool.
Very cool.
It's the same MO from the last one where she is able to capture a mood, it's the color, but she's also the illustration can stand on its own. But when you add that color on top, that knowledge that she brings to the table, it establishes that mood. And I like that. I guess it's called like rim lighting, where it's like the edges of her hair and her jacket because the light is coming from the back. Yeah, go ahead and talk about it.
One.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. Love it.
I don't know. I wanted to make her look sassy.
Mm-hmm.
You got the sassy down, and she is a very sassy character.
Like I always felt like, I always felt like she was in any kind of media, even in the movie, but it was very watered down. It hasn't been my favorite. I think it was the one that she appears with Deadpool. There's a comic saga where she appears with Deadpool, and they even make out.
Mm-hmm.
But well, that's from out of the point. It's the florist is David Curiel, so that's maybe the reason to look it up.
Yeah.
And
yeah, that is phenomenal. I love the artwork because when you put those colors on top of it, just takes it to another level.
I used to. So yeah, I mean, I like the eyes. They came out nice. Maybe
The
it's
Like the
pale.
little one
eyebrow
eyebrow.
with the
Yeah.
sass.
Yeah. I like the little eyebrow raised.
Yes, that's the extra bit of sass on the side there.
Mhm.
So really, really cool. All right, let's go to the next challenge. Let's
Do we want to go to the group or do we want to bring yours up now?
let's see the group. Is anybody in the group? Did anybody?
Yeah, we've got
There's
a
at
few
least
in the
2,
group.
right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, let's do the group.
see that.
Let me. Sorry, I can only do so much. I
Keep saying that, Joe.
lost the group. Sorry. Let me-
I like the subtle poke there by Brian. It's like, yeah.
yeah, I know. All right. All right. So let's bring this one up.
While we're waiting for that to come up, I just wanted to tell some of the writing wit that Brian said to me yesterday when we did our test. I had to like come full, acknowledge that I had some technical difficulties yesterday before the pre-show, and the chat was pretty lively. And Brian, using his writing wit, sort of said, "I think the only thing that Gerald is testing today is our patience." And I was laughing so hard when he said that. I said, "Oh, that's just a great play on words." Yeah, so very, very. Okay, here we go. We got some fan art here. So who's?
Yep. All right. We got Brian up. So Brian Acosta,
Yeah.
he did his rogue, which was very cool. Thank you, buddy.
Very, very cool.
Thanks, Brian.
And it looks like she's
Yeah.
to take off her glove, maybe. Like she's about ready to.
Just about ready to drop some pain.
Yeah, drop the pain. That's right. I'm gonna start saying that Rose is trying to be like Naya.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
Oh, nice.
Oh, that one's great.
Very nice.
who is this from? Sean?
This is from Sean Mendoza.
Sean, yeah.
Killing it.
Nice.
Yeah, he's
This looks like
This-
it's like a
right out of high school. He's really just flying right into it. He's been doing a great job.
Really nice.
Very nice, Sean. Very nice.
And I know that we have one more from Matt. I'm gonna go ahead and stop sharing. So I'm gonna bring yours up, Gerald, and then if I can find it, then we'll make it happen.
All right. So I decided to go with this is the happy-go-lucky, fun-loving rogue where she's just thumbs up to everybody.
It's the
Right away, I
Fonzie.
thought, why so serious?
It's the Fonzie vibe. She's like, hey!
Right.
Happy.
Yeah, you and I would get that. I think a lot of our other audience probably. Who the heck is Fonzie? But yeah.
That's true. Again, ooh.
No, I'm with you. I'm with you.
Okay. So, the youngins in here, they probably don't know who Fonzie is, but we were talking about Bryce Dallas Howard, her dad, which is Ron Howard. He was. Look at that. We're doing what is it? 6
These callbacks, yeah, these whole little connections
Yeah, they're
here.
all connected here. So, but anyway, this is
Oh no,
Zilson. What's the
Gerald! Don't break the internet.
That wasn't me. That wasn't me. Anyway, that's my rogue. So I'm so happy that got to draw her. And are we waiting on one more?
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna have him in time. We may just show it at the end of the show.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and have Sarah's up because she drew the second challenge,
Yes.
and then we'll move on to the next piece so we can focus on these guys' IP.
Yes.
And close it out. Let me just go here. Every single time I do it, I gotta pop up a new thing here. This is fun. All right. So there we go.
Oh,
It's
Sarah.
from Sarah. Sarah knocking it out again.
I like
Yep.
that.
Yep.
Well
I
done.
like the
All right, good
attitude
job,
in
Sarah.
there.
I like how
All right.
she did a different take on the costume, and it has a little bit of a manga anime look to it too.
Definitely.
Yeah, I can see
Definitely
that.
can feel that. I can see it.
It's a cute rogue. I like this cute rogue.
Yeah.
It is. It's the playful rogue.
Yes, exactly. We have so
Before she stomps on you.
we have so many different rogues. All right, so
Yep.
we are rounding it out. We're coming up to the towards the end of the show, and we're doing our third
Mhm.
challenge. And I'm going to let's see, is my screen still up here? We're going to stop sharing and let me share the PDF that I showed earlier. So let me pull that up.
Oh no, here we go. PDFs?
Yeah, what's wrong with
Good
PDF?
luck.
You have
Let's see
something,
what happens.
you got something against PDFs?
All right, excellent.
Alrighty. Okay. So, wow. I saw this illustration, and this is the next next original character from the IP, the Shifter that we're going to draw. And I'm hopefully not going to mispronounce this. You guys can correct me. It's Zertanic. Is that correct?
Zertanic. Yeah, that's right.
Zertanic. I looked at this, and this is what I originally saw. And he's this character that's in the off to the right of Naya. And I saw him first like this. And then I saw this piece. And I was like, oh, wow, this guy, he has like, and I found out he's the antagonist. He's the villain in here. And I was joking around with Brian. I said, you know, he has rosy cheeks. Is he like Santa Claus? You know, does he have, does he walk around? Does his belly shake like a bowl full of jelly? I don't know, but anyway,
he kind of does actually. He's very lively and kind of silly, and he's a pain merchant, and he is an enchanter and does a lot with the smith and the forge and whatnot. But he is very playful and kind of not goofy in that way, but he has almost a Tony Stark vibe with the sarcastic and the playfulness kind of.
Yeah, I was going to say that the word that comes to mind is coy.
Coy, yes, that would be a good thing for him.
He's very he leads Naya along her journey in some ways. I'm not going to give any spoilers, but yeah, he's a very good judge of character, and he plays with her emotions and motivations a lot.
Oh, so it's kind of he's kind of like a Loki kind of character. You know?
Okay, yeah.
Some ways, yeah, you can do it. Yeah, very manipulative. You know, not the best guy. Well, you know, he's the villain. So
right, you want, and you know, judging by what you just told us, Janice, about how you like to mess with your characters to like a really evil and sadistic way, he's probably like filled with all. You know, he looks a little bit jocund, but maybe he's devious at the same time. So I wanted our audience to take a gander at Zertanic, and I will start the clock. It's 3:10 right here, and I would like Janice and Brian to tell us a little bit about Zertanic, and of course, when we get to that, you know, the artist part of it, you know, like if the artist want to talk about his look, and you know, why does he have rosy cheeks? Because I already know, but you know, we'll talk about like just his pain merchant MO. So let's start the clock right now, and I'll hand it over to Janice and Brian. Yeah, go ahead and tell us a little bit about Zertanic.
Okay. Oh goodness, this is tough. Let's see. So Zertanic, he's kind of the other half of the physical demographics in Gaveg. He has red hair, and there's a lot of light-haired and fair-skinned people in Gaveg. And you know, he's one of those that his personality spoke to me so much more than his physical look. So aside from being redhead, I don't think I remember too much even about him, or he may have even had dark hair. You know, I'm the creator. You think I would remember this, but sometimes it's been a while. But he was more that he almost had a used car salesman smarminess almost to him in some ways, because he's about charming you into getting what he wants out of you. So he definitely has a sneakiness, and he'll come across and seem like he's your best friend, yet he's sneaking around and robbing you blind. You know, he's not going to come right out and stab you in the back because that's a little too overt, but he's certainly not going to warn you if somebody is sneaking up behind you with a knife. So he's, you know, he definitely is a person who is in it for himself and what he can get from other people, and does not really care who he hurts. I'm curious to hear Brian's take on it.
Yeah, you know, when I first read the novel, and you described him as a very large man, and based on what you just said about him, you know, getting what he wants, using manipulation, acting like he's your friend, the picture that I formed was Kingpin from Spider-Man and Daredevil fame. And so when I was describing this initially to Zilson, that was the first sort of archetype that I brought to mind. And then you and I, Janice, we talked about Zertanic and changed it up a little bit, because you told me more about him and how, yeah, Kingpin is a little too violent. He's a little too bossy and arrogant, whereas Zertanic, although he's probably all those things, he likes to keep that under wraps, and he leads you to believe that he's doing things in your interest, and hey, I'm only here to help you, and then yeah, come to find out, not so much.
Yeah, definitely. Well, it's fun because villains are I love villains. It's the dark side in me coming out. And my favorite villain of all time is actually Magneto.
Is he?
I love
Okay.
He is. I think he's just brilliantly done. I mean, talk about a villain that you can absolutely relate to. It's like, and I think the best villains are ones that when you hear them tell you their plans and their reasons and you hear their backstory, you go, well, yeah, if I was in his shoes, I would do the same thing. And Eric is just one of those characters that you just hear how horrible he was treated, and and with his life and his people being rounded up by Nazis, and then here it is, the government wants to round up mutants, and you can just see those parallels, and it's brilliant. So I love great bad guys, and so it's just so much fun being able to take a bad guy and make him just not be evil or vicious or mean. Monsters are fun, but understanding a bad guy and why your villain is your villain, and being able to have a reader relate to him or relate to her on some level is wonderful. That's my favorite part of villains.
As a comic book fan for over 40 years and now a comic book writer for 6 or 7, the best villains, in my opinion, are those that actually think they're the hero of their own story.
Exactly.
Exactly.
So Magneto, if you asked him, is he a villain? He'd say, absolutely not. I'm trying to save my people.
It's so relatable.
So, and there's villains who are just out for the money. Rhino bashing his way through the side of a building to steal the money in a vault. That's a villain. But I'm sorry, the ones that are the best fleshed out are the ones like Magneto or Sherlock Holmes' adversary. Moriarty, yes.
Even Hans Gruber from Die Hard was great. It was about money.
We are terrorists.
Yeah.
And we're going back to Buffy. We've got Spike from Buffy.
Yeah.
I mean, talk about a fabulous character arc for that villain, or for that character. Is you have the whole Angel with the vampire with the soul, but Spike was the one who was actually trying to do better because he loved Buffy even before he got his soul. Like, he was trying to do the right thing, and that was just another one of my favorite villains.
Yeah, I totally what Brian was talking about in terms of, like, villains think of themselves as the hero in their story. They're the ones that, I guess it's a matter of I'm going to get all Obi-Wan. It was true from a certain point of view. I don't know. It's sort of like, but you're right. I think also another trademark of a good villain is you hate them. When you have a well-written villain, you can sympathize. There's a sympathetic angle that you can get into, but if it's a really baddie, you're like going, gosh, they are so terrible. I think if you remember in Game of Thrones, what was the name of Cersei's son that was just completely evil?
Oh, Joffrey.
Joffrey was the guy that, I think he's going to be typecast for the rest of his life. Poor guy.
Yeah, he's left acting, I think, for that very reason.
Yeah, it's because he played that role to a T. It's like you hated him. He was a great villain. But yeah, I thought that was a great villain. And let's talk about Zertanic. Let's talk about his name. What is the genesis of his name? Is it when I read it, Zertanic, I could have thought it's satanic. I was thinking, is that a play on that, or what is the
no writer secrets? I like the way the syllables fell off my tongue. There's nothing behind it. I wish I had some really interesting thing. Here, since I don't have anything really cool that went behind Zertanic's name, I'll give you something that's cool about a lot of the series.
Okay.
Since I used Lake Victoria as a jumping off period, I thought it would be interesting to pull some Afrikaans words into names and various things. So, and now some of them I tweaked a little bit, and there's probably people out there who speak Afrikaans much better than the Google Translate that I use. But geveg is actually the word for hurt. Or no, sorry, suffering or suffering, I think. I forget where geveg came from. I may be wrong on this one. But pinvium came from pin, which was the word for pain.
Oh,
and the bad guys the bad guys in the book are the Basiri. Well, at least in the first book, that you learn more about the Basiri later on. Things aren't quite so cut and dry. But Basir was the word for hurt, I think.
Oh, wow.
Oh, no, geveg was struggle. That was it. Geveg was struggle, which I thought was fitting for somebody struggling for independence. And then there's like a bad guy later where the name is like Enemy was for the name, which I won't say because you don't know who that is. And I've actually had people email me saying, did you mean to name this character Enemy? Because you really did. And apparently Afrikaans is also very similar to Dutch. So a lot of Dutch readers have emailed me about that because they are similar. So there are Easter eggs. So if you speak Afrikaans or Dutch, you may actually get clues in the series that those people who don't speak those language would get, because there are clues.
Interesting.
For deeper meaning. So those are like Easter eggs in the book.
That's fascinating. Now I got to search for that every time.
I know. Janice is like going there like with the doctor.
Yeah.
It's like, I
I'll reveal that secret for $1 million.
I want $11 billion. But I think that's really, really cool, because the thing I enjoy about the show is that we get to get inside the minds of our creators. It's not just well, sometimes it's arbitrary. Maybe it's just something that came to them on the chicken story. I don't know. but it's kind of like when you hear some of the meaning behind some of these things. It's like, hey, it is a very cerebral process. There is a meaning behind these characters and like where they came from and who they are and where they're going. And if you speak lots of different languages and you know what the pain word is in all those languages, you will get a leg up in understanding
Totally right.
the story. So very, very cool. I like hearing those type of stories. Joe, how much time do we got? I didn't keep track of time. Do we have?
I'm not either.
Oh, it's like you had one job.
I decided to draw on I sketched my own thing out. So, all right. Anyway, back to the show.
Okay. Yes. Right.
All right. We're about 2:20 now.
2:20. Okay.
So
right, let's say 2:25. Well, for me it's Eastern Standard. Let's say 5 more minutes. Let's give them 5 more.
let's do 5 minutes and we'll shut it down. I'm on 3 different time zones because I moved my computer to another time zone and then I never updated it. So now I'm like in your time zone and my time zone, and now we're in Spanish time zone. We're just all over the place.
That's one of the challenges as a writer that I'm, when I've got such an international group of creative staff, it's, I'm working with people in the Philippines who are 12 hours different from me, people in New Zealand who are 16 to 17 hours different. That's even harder to figure out because they're living in the future. Hey, what are the lottery numbers, by the way? People in Europe and South America. I know that Zilson, for example, is 2 hours ahead, so I've got to keep that in mind when trying to reach out to him. I need to be mindful of when I'm writing him and not be so impatient when I don't hear back from him, because you know what? He went to bed 2 hours ago.
How dare you? Are you sleeping? That's not an option.
Zilson, you're not allowed to sleep, especially. I know you're playing Portuguese heavy metal right now. You're not really sleeping, so. But yeah, that is definitely a challenge. I think even just when we manage guests here, because we definitely have to be very, very aware of people's different time zones.
That is definitely true.
But it's fun. It's fun too, because that is the wonderful thing about this day and age is that it's a treat for me. I get to meet all of you guys from all different countries, all different backgrounds, and it makes me. I feel like we're so far apart, but we're still connected in some way, right?
Absolutely. It's a great thing to be able to meet folks and bring them on my team who are from around the world. Sai Lim from New Zealand, Arias Hernandez from the Philippines. And you know what? Philadelphia, Rusty Gilligan. Why not?
Philadelphia is its country all to itself.
Yeah, right. So it's great to deal with and work with the people from around the world. And I've got friends, for example, who moved up here from Mexico, and they're teaching me some Spanish, and that's always fun. Weeping Willow is Llorones. And when I come back with the word that they taught me a year and a half ago, they're like, "Oh, wow, you were actually listening." Yeah, I find that stuff fascinating. So I like to think that we have more in common than we have different from one another, but we should also celebrate the differences. It's great that we've got different customs and cultures, and every bit of it is just as important to make up who you are as a person. At the same time, we're so much alike in so many ways. It's fun to get together.
Yeah, and I think that's also the fact that you guys are independent creators. You have a common love for this comic book medium, and it's universal. You know, you can find that in every country. You know, we just talked about one of our guests hailing from Egypt.
That's awesome. Yeah.
I think that's great. And you guys are the best example because your crew is from all over the world. So that just shows the love that I see with this Comics Cast experience is that I love promoting independent creators, and you guys represent the epitome of that. Independent creators all over the world sharing their love for the medium, telling the stories that may not be something that you would like. It's a novel. It's a novel. Adapting it to a comic book medium, and which is a challenge in itself, but it's sharing that bridging that gap, showing the you read the book and read the comic book. You're gonna get a really good experience to have this team that's putting it together.
And don't forget to see the movie once it's made.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't know if you guys. I got because I have an extensive network, and I think Netflix is on the line. I'm going to talk to them a little bit later on. They want to do. So, I told them they got to wait because you guys are mine right now on this.
Right.
Netflix has to wait.
That's right. When they make the movie, they're going to have to get the license from Janice, of course, but they're going to need me to be the screenwriter.
Yeah,
I got to write the script.
Well, I'd love to see it. I think it would be great as an animated series.
Yes.
Animated. Like, I think you could do so much because of all the magic, and I'm thinking of like just some of the scenes and the angles and the various things you could do. I think it would be awesome to see this.
I'm currently working with a former Disney animator, so that could happen.
Oh, there we go.
That would be fabulous. Yeah, I think that would be a lot of fun to see that
on
animated.
Disney Plus pretty soon. Stay tuned, and you have to give us exclusive rights to like when you guys are ready to premiere that. You have to like before you do NBC, CBS, Fox, or whatever. You got to come to Comics Cast because we are the multimedia mecca. Everybody tunes in to us to get their news.
I think you're overselling our ability and what our connections. Hey, listen, by then maybe we'll be in a different spot, but that's great. All right, so like 2 more minutes and then we'll shut it down.
Minutes. Okay, I'm just gonna darken
2 minutes. I've been trying to keep a little bit of the artwork under wraps because I really think that I've been showing maybe a little bit behind the scenes too much. And we'll kind of unveil all of the magic here in a second.
Okay, definitely. I'm excited. I want to see what you guys are doing. Zertanic is just I don't know. I guess we can't really talk too much about it because we don't want to give things away. But just we talked about his name. We talked about his look. Being the Santa Claus looking character. Oh yeah, we talked about his rosy cheeks. Did we talk? I guess it's been implied. We talked about how he has rosy cheeks because I thought it was a bad case. Like either he was Santa Claus or he had a bad case of sunburn. But exactly,
forge probably.
Yeah, he's a smithy. He's a blacksmith.
Yeah.
So
it's a forge. He's got all that from the heat from the fires.
Right. It makes total sense. And then I just like I'm still getting over this whole thing about this world and how you can capture pain and then imbue it on physical objects. I think that's just, and then you have a blacksmith who's forging this. He's forging these objects.
Yeah, it's all in the metal. It's that magic metal. So whatever you can do with metal, that's what you can do with the Pinvium. It just happens to have pain in it.
Yeah.
And then enchanters can make it do stuff. So it can flash pain and it can inject pain and.
Right.
It's fun. Oh, the fight scenes were a lot of fun with this because you think about like Naya, her only weapon to use against some of these bad guys is the fact that she can draw pain from people, and if she doesn't have pain, she would purposefully get herself injured and throw herself with a sword and get stabbed in order to take that pain and use it against the people who just stabbed her. So yeah, I'm saying like. There's some dark stuff here.
Yeah.
You know what?
It's fun.
Having if I ever had you over for Thanksgiving, that'd be some interesting Thanksgiving conversations.
Well, writers have frightening conversations. You should,
for sure.
be wary of what you wish for on those kind of things. I mean, we've had some really crazy conversations about things because writers, we are researching and looking into all kinds of bizarre things. And sometimes I feel like I just need to like type into my browser going, I'm a writer. I'm not, there's a reason I'm looking up how to blow up something, or I'm looking up poison, or I'm looking up, I mean, like I was, there's a reason I'm looking up vaults, or, whatever it is. I'm sure I'm on like an NSA watch list somewhere.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So that's it. That's it. Pencils down. Pencils down.
Pencils down. All right. Much fun. So much fun. I enjoyed hearing those stories.
All right. So so Brian and Janice, give me in one sentence, no more than 20 words, why this character is a cool, badass dude. We're about ready to see how he's shown being a badass, but I want to know. You sell me this character real quick because I know he's cool. What would be the one thing you want to tell somebody?
No matter how awful he is, you can't help but like him.
Okay. That's under 20 words, and I love it. That's the lovable bad guy. So all right, so let's all right,
perfect.
What's your 20 words or less describes Zertanic?
Zertanic knows what he's about and makes no qualms about getting his way from whoever he needs to get it from.
Is he the hero of his story?
Yeah, to a certain extent, he sure is.
Okay, so he doesn't
think
he's evil. He thinks he's
all right. Let's pull up HG.
Okay, HG. Let's see HG.
Oh, nice.
Oh, you don't even need to see any blacksmith stuff. You just know that he's in a fort.
Well, the fire, the red is coming from the fire. That orange.
Nice.
And you know what? I like the little detail where there's a little bit of smirk underneath that mustache that he has.
Right.
Oh, just that little crooked little lip there.
Exactly.
Nice.
So fun. And seeing this, I could definitely see like what I don't know who mentioned it. Seeing it, I think it was Janice saying that it'd be cool to see an animated version versus a live action version, and this is really cool. I can see this character being animated.
Absolutely. I love it.
It's been missing the sparks coming up.
Yes.
As well.
I you were talking about the power of color. It's like I look at this and I'm like, what in here? It's like you can feel the heat coming off this. It's just very, very cool. Power of color. Yes, excellent work.
All right, very cool. Let's get to Zilson. Ooh, you're gonna have to zoom in, buddy.
Zoom in.
Let us see all of this cool stuff. I really liked how you did it with basic shapes initially, and I could definitely see the Brashema influence on how you sort of lay out your body proportions. Very cool.
And I like that he looks like he's like conniving. There's like he looks like he has his tools. It's like Golem from Lord of the Rings. He's like precious. It's like he has tools. It's like you can't take them. Because I'm gonna like put together like this paint. I'm gonna forge this next level of paint object, and Zilson. And then he didn't even have to color his the character. He just colored the background, and look at that. You guys could share duties in terms of like being the colorist or the line artist, because you both.
We got to get you a mic.
Can you hear me? I'm sorry.
There's a lot of static.
Oh, there is. I'm so sorry. I'm just saying that they both did an excellent job. So
yes,
I really, it's been such a great.
Outstanding work. Outstanding work.
Did we get any other?
We don't have anything in the guest chat area, so let's pull. You know what? I will say I'm from the chat because I got so inspired by you guys. I decided to sketch something here. So we'll bring out mine. All right, let me figure out how to work my own thing here.
I think Joe just wanted to solo himself out. Oh,
wow!
Look at that!
That's great.
Oh, those inks. Oh, very.
You know what? That looks very heavy metal to me.
Oh,
that's heavy metal right there.
That looks great, Joe. I totally dig that. So very cool. I wish that there was other people that were drawing along with us. I think.
Well, Sarah's done. She says she's done. Go ahead and shoot it up, Sarah, and we're gonna show Gerald's real quick of this awesome character, and then if you're up in the group, then I'll pull it up. Okay. All right, here we go. Solo it out.
There, Gerald.
Okay, so this is
nice.
This is just a quick one, but it's
Nice
sort of like,
beard.
I still think of him as the Santa Claus. He's the bat. He's like Santa Claus. Santa Claus' estranged brother. But, this is yeah. His name is Stan. Yeah, Stan Titanic. But yeah, and then he got banished to the world of Naya. You know, Naya's world, and he's been trying to find his way back. And the only way that he can do it is to delve. You know, do these paintings. So he doesn't build toys like in this world. He builds the pain. Those pain. Yeah, he built the pain with the what's the name of that metal again? I'm gonna say that.
Indium.
Yeah. So that's the new metal. I used to think Antium was the coolest metal because you know that was Wolverine, or you know what they were talking about was it Vibranium? That was Black Panther.
Oh,
Now it's this metal. This is the metal that you got to look forward to because not only can it physically hurt you, it can be imbued with even more pain, like be that much more destructive. So, man, this has been a great show. I just, why am I solo here? Joe,
Do we have Sarah?
Yeah, let's. Do we have Sarah's artwork? Did it come through, Joe?
Yeah, we do have Sarah's. Let me pull it up. But we are having supposedly a lot of people are bringing theirs in. So thank you guys for sharing your work. I'm just not seeing it, so I'll keep an eye on it.
Okay, let's.
Here's Sarah's.
Oh, great.
Oh, nice.
Oh, look at that. He's got a very wolf-like appearance there. I like it.
It kind of reminds me of what was it? The Teen Wolf?
Yeah.
Michael J. Fox.
The movie, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the movie Teen Wolf with Michael J. Fox. Yeah.
And I think when you look at this, you can get the lovable villain out of this one. I think
it's the kind eyes. You can see the kind eyes, and then you know the rest of it's hidden behind that.
Oh yeah.
Great work, Sarah. Thank you for sketching it together. I know it's tough. Mine is rough. Everybody's is rough. We had 15-minute challenge, so really good work. Keep drawing. It looks great. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, Sarah 3 for 3 again today, drawing along with us. So she totally dug you guys' work and just
thank you, Sarah.
So.
I think we're gonna have to send something to Sarah, just being such a good fan of the show. We did hit 5,000, so that was a big deal. We really should be doing a giveaway, but you know, I'm so I don't know, juggling over here. I forget to do stuff like that.
It's in the works. We're gonna talk about that a little later on. But
yeah, cool.
Anybody else that shared?
Supposedly,
let's give them a few moments because I'd like. We can share it because I want to.
Go ahead. Do your thing.
Yeah, I would like to talk a little bit more about the crowdfunding campaign and what I'm going to do, and I'm going to let Brian talk more about this because what I'd like to do is I'd like to share just because I think he mentioned that it was on Kickstarter, and I did a screen capture of it because I just want to show. Basically, what's there is going to be translated. It's going to be moved over to Indiegogo, so it'll give you a gist of what to expect. And I want to encourage people to go to the website link below because you'll have as soon as you go there for the first time. When you go there, there'll be a prompt that will pop up, which will allow you to input your email address, so you can be in the know when that campaign on Indiegogo goes live. So I'm going to show. Just a screen capture that I did. And Brian, I'll let you talk a little bit about what they can expect. How what I'm showing is going to be a little bit more. It's going to be modified for Indiegogo. So let me pull that up and have at it, Brian. You can talk about this, the future Indiegogo campaign.
Thank you. Yes, Gerald. As Gerald said, it was on Kickstarter initially, and we had a really lofty goal originally. We were going to do a 150-page trade paperback. We're gonna bring that back a little bit. We're going to go to perhaps a 48-page beginner on Indiegogo. We are going to have the same creative staff. Obviously, we're all excited about working on this. You see some example pages there. When Gerald scrolls down a bit, you'll see the cover and those pages much closer up. And we will definitely have the customary behind the scenes sketches in the trade paperback. We will have the we'll have. Did we lock up?
Well, we didn't lock up. Gerald, are we able to scroll down, or is this a single image? Oh, I think Gerald locked up. All right, Gerald, we'll come
he
back
did
to
mention
the
that it
world
was
when you're
a-
ready.
Yeah, he did mention it was a screen cap. So I think this
Okay.
is all we have.
Yeah. Let me
Okay, well,
see.
you can see from this screen capture that I had Zilson do a few pages, and then HG colored them. They're vibrant. They're just incredible, and you can, as backers, pledge confidently that we will fulfill. I know for the last few years that's been sort of a point of contention with some creative teams, and I just want you to know that because Dojo Kun has been publishing comics for several years now, and we've created 12 comics, we'll definitely fulfill this. We're super excited about this project. That Janice was excited about giving us this opportunity to adapt her novels into graphic novel form, and as I said earlier in the show, we're going to be transparent. We'll give you an opportunity to see things as we progress. It will take a while, although now that I've seen how fast Zilson can draw under a 15-minute challenge, maybe it'll be faster than we think. he's like lightning with the pencil, so that's encouraging. But you can see he captures emotion. If you know what, Gerald, stop right there for a second.
Okay.
If you could go, scroll back up just a little bit to the bottom of that page, right there.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at that middle panel, you can see how Naya is looking off like, oh, for heaven's sake. I mean, there's no words there, but you can see just the expression, the emotion that she's got in that one tiny little panel. So Zilson really knows how to capture what I'm trying to put on the page. And then further up on that page, or, on one of the earlier panels, on 6 of the earlier panels, he showed the fact that he made it a puzzle piece was entirely Zilson's idea. My script said what I'd really like to do is have the top 3 flow from one into the other as if it was one scene, but Naya is talking to 3 different people, and then the same for the next 3. Well, he took it and make it puzzle pieces, which I thought was brilliant, to be honest with you. And when I saw that, I was like, wow, this is inspired. I love this. And what's happening between Zilson and I is that, as I said to Gerald, I think it was before the show started, is that the rapport we have when, I tell him this is what I'd like to see, he comes back with the art, and often it's better than I asked for.
So that's what you want. That's what you want. Let me preface, I had a little bit weird power fluctuation, and that's the reason why I dropped out. So I apologize. Okay. I apologize for that, but I'm back. Hopefully there's no damage to my heating here or whatever. But anyway, I'm back online. But yes, that whole thing that you described, that is what you want. You want to have that connection, with whether it's all parts of your team, whether it's the writer with the artist with the inker with the colorist, and with the letterer. And I see that. I see that, and that's why this book, I haven't read it. I only see what I see here, but it looks great.
We also want to point out, Brian, like this is like you're a proven commodity. You've got books that are finished. I think one of the biggest things as indie buyers is sometimes we're worried that we'll buy something and it'll take either it'll take 4 years before we see it, or it'll never get finished. So we're always worried about backing books, but your books are clean. Your team is professional. The looks of these things are top shelf books. These are, and we already know they're written well. Like it's going to be really, really good stuff. And hopefully, if people are on the fence on this, then there's no reason to be on the fence. If you're interested in buying indie books, like this looks like a really sharp book for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. Because we had talked about Brian's work at the very beginning. He's we talked, was it Siamese?
Yes.
So we talked about those books. This is this may be the first of their crowdfunding campaigons, but he is a proven a commodity. I mean, he basically is. That this is his first crowdfunding, but he's already put out books already. So there is no doubt. And then if you add any doubt, you just got to look at the talent that he's assembled for here too. And I can't think of a better book to first crowdfund than Janice's work. To bring that from the novel to a comic realization. So just super, very, very cool. So like I said, let me go to stop the screen. Let's share. Chrome tab. Oh, application. And so if you look here, this is their website. So check that out. And what will happen is if you go there for the first time, this will appear. So join our mailing list. And that's where I encourage you all to put in your email address. And that way, you know, Comics Cast will definitely, we're going to put our back, you know, our I'm a loss for words. We're gonna put our antennas up so that we can always be aware. I'm gonna be in constant contact with Brian to know what when this Indiegogo campaign is ready to go. But you can take the initiative, put in your email address, and then you'll also get an email, and you can always check out their website. And just like we talked before, you can see the body of work that Brian has already done. Hey, look, there's Janice. Yeah, so like, yeah, so definitely check it out. And look, you know, there's the talent pool. You got obviously the character art from the Shifter. And you know what? I misspelled Zertanic. I just realized that. Anyway, there's plenty here to look at. Lots of stuff to chew on. In fact, I would encourage you guys to, like, while you're waiting for the Shifter, go ahead and buy some merch. You know, get yourself a T-shirt. Check out these other.
That's actually pretty cool.
Yeah,
I dig those shirt designs. That's nice.
Yeah, me being a big fan of
times. I haven't gone that far down on the website. That actually looks pretty neat.
Yeah, there's lots of. And look at this. This is it. Look at all these books. Books galore. And you can read all this stuff, and while you're waiting for the Shifter to debut, and lots of stuff to read. Good quality indie created content. Stuff that you cannot get from the big box stores that we shall not name. So yeah, so check them out. Lots of cool stuff here. So man, this is the part of the show. It's another marathon show. I told you this was gonna go long.
Well, before you close out, Gerald, I want to take 3 steps back and bring up Roy's piece of art real quick, and then we're gonna shut it down. Then we
still have to go through our last segment.
Oh, I know we got a lot of stuff, but I just want to make sure.
Okay, let me stop screen and let you share.
All right, cool. All right, boom, and there we go.
Oh my god!
Wow, nice.
Okay, I look at.
I like the.
This is like
Jason Momoa vibe. Yes, I mean it's perfect. Now we know who to cast if we ever do a movie. You know, like that's perfect.
I totally got that. I was like, Jason Momoa as Zertanic. On Netflix. Oh, Roy, killing it.
How would you feel? We already got it casted. What would you guys think about if Jason Momoa was cast as your character? What would that mean to you?
Oh, that would be awesome. I mean, I enjoy him as an actor. I've loved his stuff. I think that would be terrific. You know, I think that he has brought such a freshness and a different perspective to Aquaman. You know, like, yeah, they did get him there at one point past the Saturday morning cartoon ones, you know, in the later comics, but he brings, you know, like, you don't think of the yellow and green tights Arthur Curry when you see Jason Momoa and Aquaman. So I think, like, if he can do that, what could he do with Zertanic? Like, I think that would just be fabulous. And I think he's got the sardonic kind of humor, yet the danger quality to it. That would be fabulous. I would love to see that.
I'd venture to say he would have fun being a villain of that caliber.
I think he would have. I think he would have a good time with the jovial nature.
That's what I was going to say. He'd make a mean Santa Claus.
Would this be considered his first villain role?
Well, Khal Drogo was, you know, he was arrogant and overbearing, but I don't think he was a villain. So I'd have to say this.
I don't think he
his
was.
first
Well,
villain.
wasn't a good guy.
Yeah.
He did. He fought Sylvester Stallone in a movie, so he was a villain in that. But he was like a B-list villain
like a
character.
Werewolf or something? Wasn't there one of his first movies? There was like a werewolf or shoot.
I don't know.
I know
I don't remember it.
He was in what was the science fiction movie that had that long TV series? It was all about portals through time or portals through space.
Stargate.
Stargate. That's my favorite sci-fi
Stargate.
movie of all time, and I can't remember the name. That's lame. But yeah, I think he was in Stargate when he was much younger as well. But he wasn't throwing that either.
That was before he got like massive, big, type stuff in terms of like muscles. But you're right. I think that he is a phenomenal actor. And while we're talking about it, who would you cast as Naya? You guys, did we talk? I mean, we talked about Buffy. Sarah Michelle Gellar, but that was younger Buffy. Like, who would you cast as the young version, book 1 of Naya? Random question.
I don't really know because I did mentally cast all these people 10 years ago when the book first came out, and everybody's grown up. So I'm not sure who I would do for Naya these days. Like, I'm trying to think of you guys might have better.
We were talking about
who I would cast.
Okay, go for it, Brian.
Who? Yeah.
The young actress who played Lady Marmont in Game of Thrones.
Oh, she was tough.
She was tough, and she's the one who ended up taking on that giant by herself.
Yes.
Right. Yep.
You're right. And I was gonna say, we were talking about the young versions of stuff. It's like the perpetually young actress Emily Clark, who was the who was opposite of Khal Drogo in Game of Thrones. She always looks young. She doesn't age. So she happens.
Maisie Williams could be good too. I mean, if we're in the Game of Thrones land, Maisie, she's got those big eyes and the innocent of her, and
you could pretty much pull any actor from Game of Thrones for any single thing, and they would probably be great. This is a Game of Thrones game. You can literally just take any of them. They're all spectacular for sure.
Okay, yeah, and you know what? I could talk to you guys for like hours still.
We're gonna have to.
But we're rounding it out now, and we're going to the last part of the show, and it's always the tearjerker part of it because that's where I had to, say bon voyage and say goodbye. Yeah, but we could go on forever. But here, this is the what we call the Oscar speech part of the show, where I will hand the mic back to you to talk about. You can give your final thoughts. You can say your thank yous. You can say whatever you want. You can thank your cousin's roommate's uncle's roommate if you want to. I don't know. You can definitely do whatever you want. This is your final thoughts. So I'd like to. We'll end with Brian, but we have a nice thing here. Let's start with HG. Give us your Oscar speech, your final thoughts.
Damn, the first one. I want to thank you, all of you, because you have been so nice and so kind to me and very supporting, and that's very nice to feel like we are starting to become a family, the Sifter family. So that's great. I appreciate the patience, especially Brian, because I know I have lent you a mile-long messages when I have to ask or demand anything, and I was like, I'm sorry, but thanks a lot. Thanks a lot because you always answer like very patiently and very kindly, and I know you value my opinions, and I'm very grateful for that. I'm actually really glad to meet all of you because it's always nice to see all the faces that are going to take part of this big project, and that's great. Now I can think about who is doing what, and that's great.
Yes, that is. I'm about ready to shed a tear. That was such a. You could say, "Hey, you like me. You really like me." Awesome.
You're really nice and really fun.
Oh yeah.
Talk about Marta Gracia and the other one.
Oh yeah, we're gonna talk about all. I mean, we couldn't even touch all the things we talked about in the pre-show. There was just so much admiration for like shared inspirations and influential artists, people in our lives. So yeah, don't worry about it. I'm gonna be in touch with all of you guys. We're gonna be friends. You're gonna be tired of like, oh, it's Gerald again. He's like sending me messages. But let's keep on moving along. Matias, you were so quiet and your work is so powerful. Like I said, you're the unsung hero letterers in general, just unsung heroes in a lot of books. When we talk about the oomph, the bang, the biff, the pow, and the dialogue boxes that make sure that the storyline is coherent. All those little details in terms of like establishing, like where the beginning is. We talked about Janice and talking about the chicken. You're the guy that makes sure that that we know where the chicken is coming from. If you're making sure that happens. So Matias, give us your Oscar speech, your final thoughts.
Okay, well. Thanks for having me. I enjoyed this time, and I love this team. This is the first time we all met, and I think we'll do great things. And I hope I can still learn, because I'm always learning in this job. And yeah, I'm eager to begin with the lettering of this book. Thank you.
Okay, that is
He
awesome.
said, Matias just said, everyone needs to hurry up so I can letter this book. That's basically what he said to the whole thing.
He's like going, the letters are just wanting to come out of my fingers, but I have to like put on gloves because you guys won't tell me the whole story, and they just won't. Yeah, whatever. So, but Matias, it was great.
Good work.
To see your work.
Thanks.
So let's move to Zilson. Zilson, give us your Oscar speech.
Hey, can you hear me?
I can hear you, but you're not moving. Let's just.
Oh, there's like flashes of light. There
we go. You're back. All right.
Well, I'm having trouble in internet connection with my notebook and my laptop, but I want to thank you very much. It's a great pleasure to be here. It was 2 hours, more than 2 hours, but it was so faster. It was very fun, really fun.
Awesome. Yeah.
To drawing. I like to draw in here live, but this is really good, really great, and it's a great pleasure to be here with all of you. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you for being on the show. It's the whole reason we're on here is to be able to highlight creators. So you have a job right now. You have a great team right now. But whoever else is watching, if they want a great artist, they've now watched you work. So the whole idea is it should inspire other people to do their own work, but also to be able to connect creators with each other. So thank you for being on the show. You're an amazing talent. Thank you for being on the show.
Yeah, thank you very much, Zilson. Everybody was impressed with your speed. That speed! Oh my gosh! Actually, HG, you're pretty fast too. I'm the slowpoke here. So anyway, let's. I'm gonna toss the mic over to Janice. Janice is I use the word puppet master. She's definitely the mind behind this madness that we're seeing here, which is good madness. It's like I want to join you in the insanity. I want to see where the story goes. I want to see Jason Momoa be Zertanic. I don't know who's going to be Naya, but it's going to be really cool. You're the reason why this team got assembled. Well, it's a co-thing. It's both you and Brian. But I'd like
Brian's the reason.
Yeah.
He's definitely our Captain America in this one, right?
Oh,
he's our group. He's the leader of this group.
I told him he was the captain, and you just made him Captain America. So that sounds better than Captain Michigan. But let's Janice, the mic is in your hands now. You feel free to give us your final thoughts, your Oscar speech. Go ahead and go for it.
All right. Well, thank you. Everything. I mean, this has been an amazing and a surreal experience. To see my world, my characters come to life like this it's just outstanding. And the artist and the talent here just blows my mind completely. And this is such a rewarding experience for me. I talk to a lot of students when I do school visits and things, and you've got a lot of reluctant readers who are very interested in the stories, but a novel's a little too much for them. And a graphic novel and the comic books, that is something that's accessible to them. So to have a format and these incredible artists, and then what Brian has done to condense my work down to a comic book format has been masterful. It's so exciting, like to know that my story is going to be more accessible to more readers and to more fans of this wonderful medium is surreal and fabulous. So I'm so excited. So thank you for this experience. Thank you, Brian.
Oh, did we lose your mic?
Oh, we lost your mic, Janice.
We lost the mic.
Okay,
sorry.
You're back.
Okay, you're back.
One fell off. I didn't realize that's where the mic was on.
Okay.
So yeah, I was basically saying you guys are awesome. Thank you very much.
Oh yeah, that's I love your speech. That made me want to cry too. I just feel so much love. Brian, take us home, Captain Michigan, Captain America. It was Dojo Kun Comics Assemble. You put together a great team. You translated this novel into a digestible comic format, which we are going to witness on Indiegogo coming up. So this is your chance. Give us your Oscar speech. Give us your final thoughts.
All right. Thank you, Gerald. And thank you to each of you who came on the show with us. I know it was kind of short notice, but I really appreciate the fact that Comics Cast gave us the opportunity to meet one another face-to-face virtually, but it's great to see your enthusiasm, your excitement on the project, and, major kudos to Janice for being willing to allow this to happen. It's so much fun already, and we've just barely begun. The fact that I'm confident in this team is encouraging, and to know that you guys in Comics Cast are so supportive, not just of Dojo Kun, but of the indie comics realm as a whole. My heart goes out to you. You guys are genuine. I appreciate all that you do, and we think it's great that you're giving us this opportunity. So we're going to have fun with this. We're going to be totally transparent. You guys are going to see all of the things we do as we progress, and we can't wait to take you on this ride.
Awesome. Well said.
I'm on the Dojo Kun train right now, comics train. So, and I hope that our audience will join us or join them as we go on that journey together, because it's only the beginning. We're only talking about it's 3 novels, that are going to be translated to the comic format. So stay tuned. Get on that mailing list. Go to that website. Like and subscribe, so you'll find all that stuff out. So okay, so yeah, I'm trying to hold back the tears now because we are going to round this up, and it's been a phenomenal show. We are hitting it's like 3:58. I cannot believe that. So let's go to this is the part where I want to take a moment to share a little bit about our charity partner. And let me pull that up right now. And that charity partner is Golden Fight. Now, Golden Fight is here in the United States. It's in the Mid-Atlantic region, which is like near my neck of the woods, which is the Virginia, Washington, D.C., Maryland, area. And they're an organization, a charity organization that I like to call big enough and small enough at the same time. They are small enough in the sense that they are not nationwide. They have a very focused area, and that allows them to have maximum reach in this particular area. And that maximum reach is helping families who have children that are dealing with difficult illnesses, often terminal illnesses like cancer. And when that happens, financial difficulties will happen, and because they want to focus on the healing of their child. And when they do that, that's where Golden Fight comes into the picture. They raise money to help support those families so that the parents can focus on their child's healing. And this is the big enough part of it. They got big hearts. 98% of the money that they raise goes directly to those families. That nominal 2%, 3% just covers administrative things. A lot of the leadership, a lot of the staff is volunteer. They basically are just big hearts. They help, heal or help families deal with these difficult situations. So I encourage you guys to check them out. And let me pull up there. Hold on 1 second.
While you pull up that element, I'm just going to reiterate again. If you guys don't know, if you haven't watched the show before, or if you're new, Golden Fight, founded by a friend of mine, have huge respect for him. I don't receive Comics Cast does not receive, or myself does not receive any money for any donations you feel to send to them. This is just something that I know, and Comics Cast know is a genuine foundation that helps people directly. So that's why we promote it as much as we do, just because it's truly a good path to be able to help others. If you are in the opportunity and you have the ability to do so, this would be a great opportunity for you to help.
Yeah, I could not agree more with that statement. So check them out. Their information is here in the scrolling ticker. It's just really simple to remember, goldinfight.org. So let me stop screen
It's
here.
also in the comment field. I went ahead and dropped that in so you guys can find it in the comments as well. Easy link, and we'll also make sure that these guys' links are in the comment field, and I'll make sure that it is attached to the top. So it should be easy to find these guys. All right. That's all I got, Gerald. Other than say, again, you guys make sure that you're following Comics Cast on YouTube. A lot of new things coming in 2021. Website design. I've been up all night the last few nights just trying to take advantage of building a website, but coding is not my friend. But I'm learning as I go. So we have a great thing to be able to offer you guys. So we're trying to unite the media, indie media groups, as well as the indie comics crews and the fans. So that's the process of Comics Cast. So keep following us to stay on this ride. The platform's going to keep getting bigger and bigger, and we're going to keep making sure that we focus on indie creators, as you see on the screen now.
Okay.
So that's all I got.
Well said. Well said. So I'm on the scrolling ticker. I just changed it from Golden Fight to like, this is the short URL. Just note that if you're going to go to find us on YouTube, it's Indie Comics Cast. So you have to put INDIE Comics Cast. So you can use the short URL. We will put in the comments field so you can easily click on it, but just look for our logo to be able to make sure that you're following us there, of course, through Facebook. And one last time, I want to show this URL because this is our guest. So go check out Dojo Kun Comics. Make sure you like and subscribe to their websites, their individual websites, and their if you go to this website, put your email in there so Brian can keep tabs, or he can make sure that you will know when that Indiegogo campaign drops. So yeah, I think that's about it. I think everybody needs to go rush and do the rest of what they want to do for the Sunday. And I just had such a pleasure meeting you guys and sharing your talents with our audience. So
Thank you so much.
See you later.
It's great.
Joe, take us out with that wonderful bumper. See y'all
All right,
later.
cool.
Keep on drawing.
Thank you.
Keep on
Bye.
drawing.
Thank you very much.